This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Well, I guess we're doing this shit again. There's been another assassination attempt on the former president's life. Apparently outside of his rally at Coachella yesterday, where he left his rally goers, his fans, stranded for hours in the desert. Maybe that's the reason why somebody got upset. Apparently, a suspect has been arrested. Law enforcement just finished up their press conference. We're going to take a section of that here in just a minute. I can't believe it. That's why we're on early. I didn't get a chance to put a show together, but we're going to do a hell of a fucking show tonight. The Troll Patrol live. It's a freaking Sunday. I'm not high enough for this shit. Before we get all this started with the Trump news, we'll take his rally. I think he's in Nevada right now. Rallied in Coachella in California yesterday. We're going to hear from California law officials. Also, it's been confirmed the dude is apparently a right-winger, part of like a Boogaloo Boys style anti-government group. Because of course he was. We got multiple people caught trying to make bombs up in the Pacific Northwest. One in Knoxville. They had a fucking box of dynamite in Knoxville. Wait till you hear about this shit. I think there's been a bunch of shootings. Yeah, it's just another day of mass shooting USA. Israel is committing war crimes. I'm trying to billboard the show, but you know, I don't have any notes in front of me. Hardcore right-winger. A Queens warehouse was shut down after being illegally converted into a concert hall. We have a possible hostage situation that happened yesterday at the ShopRite in Camden, New Jersey. A man was seriously wounded in a shooting that took place in Aurora, Colorado. Iran is warning there is no red line as reports emerge of Israel's pushback. Explosive device found outside of Seattle shuts down Highway 190 for hours. A box full of dynamite was found in Knoxville. We're going to talk about how Renaissance Festival attendees are upset about their cars getting towed. At least 6 people were arrested after a train robbery in Chicago. Crowds flocking to Salem, Massachusetts are causing a headache for surrounding towns. Mass shooting in Tennessee. 1 killed, at least 9 people injured after a homecoming game. Man was killed inside his home by fake utility workers. Marilyn Manson denying allegations of rape and abuse against him. I had to look at the date on the story. I was like, didn't that happen like 10 years ago? I have a police pursuit that ends in a horrific crash. Multiple stories of people dismembering bodies. A woman called 911 after she was surrounded by raccoons. All that and a lot freaking more tonight on the Troll Patrol Live. Good evening. Welcome. Here's your meme of the day. Rich people aren't telling their kids to skip college, just yours. There was a dude with I don't think it was a camper. I think he had like a U-Haul style truck, and he parked it outside of like an AT&T or an internet store or something like that. I don't remember the exact details. It happened in downtown Nashville, the other side of the state of Tennessee. Media Winch, good evening. Objectively me, Flash, Phil Oliver Holes. Welcome in, my friend. Warlord, always a pleasure to see you. We're going to start off tonight with the breaking news that we came on early for. Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco providing updates on the man arrested near a Trump rally. Apparently a third assassination attempt.
Riverside County are giving us an update on the man arrested
Prometheus
near a Trump rally in Coachella. Let's go ahead and listen in.
There has been a lot of media stir beginning last night with social media and further on today about the arrest, and so I am here to give you as much information as I can. I will answer all of the questions that you have. Keep in mind that the information that I'm going to give you may not...
Hey, Cab, but that's a hell of a mustache.
But because of what we're doing and because of the investigation that will obviously continue concerning this, there are some things that I cannot give you or that I will not give you, but I will do everything I can to answer your questions. So to begin with,
it was an anti-government Boogaloo Boys right-wing group.
Former President Trump arrived to the rally.
He was a hardcore right-winger.
Contact with an individual on the inner perimeter of our operation at the rally. As you can imagine, this was a very large event. In regard to previous attempts on the former president's life, this was not something that we were taking lightly. We had a very detailed plan in place on how we were going to keep not only the former president safe, but all of the participants or the attendees of the rally safe. So in general terms, I will tell you that we had a larger outside perimeter and then an inside perimeter that was completely controlled by us, by Riverside County Sheriff's deputies.
I got a large perimeter for you.
Different purposes. We did not keep residents from their homes. We did not keep people that were traveling through the area from going through if they had a legitimate reason to go through. So the outside perimeter was basically to allow people in that we thought belonged there. The inside perimeter was to make sure and to make sure people were proceeding in the right direction. The way it worked yesterday is only people that were allowed inside the perimeter, the outside perimeter in a vehicle, was if you lived there or if you had documentation that said you were going to this rally in the form of an email with VIP credentials or press credentials. Those vehicles were allowed in. There were no other vehicles allowed. So that outside perimeter are I will give you his name. The name that we have, and I'm going to put an asterisk by it as I explain this later.
What?
We have his name as Vem, V-E-M, Miller, M-I-L-L-E-R, and his birth date is 10/26 of 1974. And the reason why I gave it to you like that is I will explain later. He approached the outside perimeter.
What?
Gave all indications that he belonged there, that he was that he was a participant that was allowed to get into VIP and to and a press corps, and so he was allowed through that outer perimeter. As he got to the inside perimeter, where deputies were conducting obviously a more thorough evaluation of the vehicles that were coming in, there were many irregularities that popped up. The deputy noticed that the interior of the vehicle was in quite disarray. The vehicle had
that's not unusual,
an obviously fake license plate, and that
that's weird.
Did further investigation from our deputy.
That should
why the person was there, and
messy car, no big deal.
During that investigation, The deputy eventually found multiple passports with multiple names, multiple driver's license with different names. The vehicle was unregistered, and the license plate was what we in law enforcement would recognize as one that is homemade and indicative of a group of individuals
Sovereign citizen.
claim to be sovereign citizens.
Do it.
And assuming the deputy assumes that he was part of that identifying group. So during the investigation, obviously identification documents were found, in addition to a loaded handgun and a shotgun. Obviously, this was before the former president arrived. The person was taken into custody. He was eventually booked into jail on those charges, and eventually he was released. He will have to further his court case in the future. Right now, we are actively engaged in working with Secret Service and the FBI to ensure that.
So it's possible that this was not an assassination attempt, that he just thought he had a right to carry that gun in there. He could just be a dumb motherfucker. I want to throw that out there.
That this person is followed up on, and all of the information that they can gather.
Holiday, good evening.
That from my perspective, from a state law enforcement agency's perspective, the firearms charges is what we arrested him for and booked him on. Anything further will come from the federal government, and quite frankly, I don't know if we will be a part of that. We will certainly be a part of that investigation and cooperating with them, but those charges, if any, will come from them. They will not come from us. With that being
Kanye,
said,
welcome in.
Questions? Yes, sir.
We talked to Mr. Miller this afternoon, and he said
Got Kanye news tonight.
believe that
Kanye over here wanting to live in sexual anarchy.
Trump was, quote, complete bullshit. He said
You live
that
in
he
sexual
had a
anarchy?
special access pass that was issued to him by a Republican group in Clark County,
Princess Kimberly.
and that
He said he had a special access pass. It was like the
in his words, as a courtesy, that
Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec. It was just like, the Constitution says I can.
you have a comment on what he said.
I will not comment on what he said, or specifics that we learned or gained from our contact with him. Quite frankly, I'm not really concerned with the statement that he gave the media after he was released from custody. I can tell.
Well, he gave a statement.
It's irrelevant to me. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there were a minimum of 25,000 people that entered past those deputies into that location that had legitimate identification and weren't carrying guns. So I will just go from there. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you're listening to the Riverside County Sheriff's sheriff there, Chad Bianco. He's giving us the very latest on a man that was arrested right near the Trump rally in Coachella yesterday. What he told
His name
us
is
just
Vim
moments ago,
Miller.
Before the former president arrived to the rally site, that Riverside County sheriffs did make contact with a man in their inner perimeter of that rally. He went on to say that deputies noticed a lot of irregularities when it came to the suspect's credentials. Once they searched the suspect's vehicle, the sheriff said they found.
New York Post has a picture of him here. This is Vim Miller. Miller, a registered Republican, believed to have far-right leanings, was booked for possessing a loaded firearm and a high-capacity magazine, was released after posting $5,000 bail. Has an extensive history of petty run-ins with the law. Appears to be a member of the Sovereign Citizens Movement, a far-right movement built on conspiracy theories that believe governments have no authority over them. The FBI calls the group anti-government extremists. In addition to trying to flout taxes in the court system, the FBI noted sovereign citizens are particularly opposed to traffic stops. Miller has a master's degree from UCLA And for Nevada State Assembly in 2022. He also appears to own a California-based CBD company and has espoused conspiracy theories and virulently misogynistic rhetoric online. I've still not been able to find his statement. Apparently was anti-COVID dude. Seems to be a Trump fan from his Instagram post. Co-founder of the America Happens Network. 20 years I've been working in the media as an investigative journalist, documentary filmmaker, and content producer. Hey, it's Donald Trump. Let's give him a ride. No, I dislike the man. Besides, we have no room. Trump says, who was that? Women voting for Kamala. Joey, good evening. Trump apparently just wrapping up speech in Arizona. I said Nevada earlier. I'm sorry. Arizona. Just wrapped up moments ago. Before we go to the Trump speech, let's get a little taste of this woman passionately singing the national anthem at the Trump rally in Aurora the other day.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jamie Birdsey to sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so carefully
I'm not high enough for this shit.
streaming.
Yeah, pack another one.
And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the lands of the free and the home of the brave, the brave, the brave.
Wow. Oh, Cicero, I totally have it on my list. We're absolutely going to watch it. That one's going to be a big one. Do you want me to go over the debates that we have coming up? Allred and Ted Cruz on October 15th. That's at 7 p.m. Texas time. So I think that's 8 p.m. Eastern time. We might come on a little early. Here we're on for that one. We're also going to watch the New Jersey Senate debate that night. October 16th, we've got the Delaware Senate debate between Lisa Blunt Rochester and Eric Hansen. On October 17th, this is an important one. The Democrats need to retain this seat. Democratic incumbent Jackie Rosen will be debating Sam Brown, the Republican nominee. We got 3 big debates that night. Maria Cantwell in Washington going to be debating Raul Garcia. Also, we've got the Wisconsin Senate debate. Also, a pivotal race for Democrats, but I believe Tammy Baldwin has this one in the bag. Going to be debating Republican challenger Eric Hovde. Also got the Maine Senate debate on October 28th. The Indiana Senate debate on October 29th. The Connecticut Senate debate on October 30th. On Halloween, we get Josh Hawley, the incumbent Republican senator from Missouri, debating Lucas Kuntz. On Halloween. Still no announcement on the Florida debate, the Ohio debate. I would really like to see one in Minnesota because this Royce White dude is a nut job. I would love to see him debate the Democratic incumbent Amy Klobuchar. Apparently Bernie Sanders and Gerald Malloy have both agreed to debates in the Vermont Senate race, but have not announced it. Marsha Blackburn has declined to debate in Tennessee. John Barrasso has declined to debate in Wyoming. And Pete Ricketts has declined to debate in Nebraska. We've also got several congressional races coming up. Ohio's 8th congressional debate on October 22nd. PA's 8th district debate on October 22nd. Also on October 22nd, we're going to have the New Hampshire gubernatorial debate between Republican Kelly Iota and Democrat Joyce Craig. A lot of debate action still coming at you. Lucas Kunt, I did indeed say. Lenny, good evening. Cicero, I don't think I told you good evening. Alien, welcome in. Phil, you feel assaulted? You feel assaulted. If you play your cards right, you might get a titty slap.
A titty slap! What the? Give me those titties,
Come on now.
Trump wrapping up his speech in Arizona moments ago.
So simple they could say, oh, he speaks in such simple terms. But she said she had a job at McDonald's, and it was a lie. She never...
Oh, my God!
Bring it up. Oftentimes, though, it's the best thing you can say. No, she lied about McDonald's. I think next week or shortly thereafter, I am going to McDonald's to stand over the French fries.
He's been saying that for weeks now.
Never turned out with me. And by the way, the head of the Republican Party in Arizona is here. Please stand up. What a job you're doing. What a job. I just spotted you. Wow. And I hear we're doing well, huh? It's good. Yeah, we hear good things. Early voting, we hear get out and vote, get out and vote. Thank you. Great job you're doing. With your vote this November, we're going to defeat this radical left country destroyer. We're going to finish what we
Now, earlier in the speech, he actually talked about some of his sexual proclivities. I am remiss to have to play this for you, but I can't pass it up.
You live in sexual anarchy.
Trump talking about his sexual proclivities earlier in the speech.
I want to have a strong border, and that's why we had that beautiful chart, my favorite chart in history. I sleep with it, I kiss it. I want to have a strong border, and that's why we had that beautiful chart, my favorite chart in history. I sleep with it, I kiss it. I want to have a strong border, and that's why we had that beautiful chart, my favorite chart in history.
He can't be president again, right? Like, I can't bring myself to, like, go out and cheerlead for Democrats, but, like, this fucker can't be president again. Surely! Surely!
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Oregon Gal, good evening. Apparently, Trump rallies have gotten far, far darker. Politico writing this: we watched 20 Trump rallies. His racist, anti-immigrant messaging is getting darker. Trump's message in Arizona, a city that has become a central part of his campaign speeches in the final stretch to Election Day, marks another example of how the former president has escalated his xenophobic and racist rhetoric against migrants and minority groups he says are genetically predisposed to commit crimes. The supposed threat migrants pose is the core part of the former president's closing argument as he promises his base that he's the one who can save the country from a group of people he calls animals, stone cold killers, worst people, and the enemy from within. He is no longer just talking about keeping immigrants out of the country, building a wall, and banning Muslims from entering the United States. Trump now warns that migrants have already invaded, destroying the country from inside its borders, which he uses as a means to justify a second-term policy agenda that includes building massive detention camps and conducting mass deportations. In his lengthy speech on Friday, Trump delivered a broadside against the thousands of Venezuelan migrants in Aurora, and he declared that he would use the Alien Enemies Act, which allows the president to authorize rounding up or removing people who are from enemy countries in times of war to pursue migrant gangs and criminal networks. His rhetoric has veered more than ever into conspiracy theories and rumors, like amplified false claims about Haitian immigrants in Ohio eating pets. Trump has demonized minority groups and used increasingly dark graphic imagery to talk about migrants in every one of his speeches since September 10th presidential debate, according to a Politico review of more than 20 campaign events. It's a stark escalation over the last month of what some experts in political rhetoric, fascism, and immigration say is a strong echo of authoritarians and Nazi ideology. I think I've said that a couple of times, that it's just complete Nazi shit. Trump campaign said while the media obsesses over rhetoric, the former president is responding to voters' concerns. Trump has long deployed racist attacks for political gain, including spreading conspiracy theories about whether former President Barack Obama, the nation's first black president, was born in the United States. And when he launched his first campaign in 2015, Trump said Mexico was not sending its best, calling immigrants from the country rapists who are bringing in crime and drugs. He also, what's wrong with bringing in drugs? Those are God's people. Also promised that day to build a great big wall. The country has moved to the right on immigration, including the Democratic Party and Trump's opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, the daughter of Jamaican and Indian immigrants. Trump repeatedly bashed Harris as dumb, questioned her racial identity, and called her a DEI candidate, perpetuating the idea that women and people of color can only be in positions of power because of quotas and preferential treatment. Speaking of the idea that Trump might be a fascist, General Mark Milley stating that he does indeed believe that the Trumpster is a fascist, a dangerous threat. Retired U.S. Army General Mark Milley, the former President Trump, it said former President Trump is a fascist to the core, according to journalist Bob Woodward's forthcoming book. It's always a book plug. Milley's existing scorn for the GOP presidential nominee has escalated. He is now the most dangerous person to this country, he told Woodward. I had suspicions when I talked to you about his mental decline and so forth, but now I realize he's a total fascist, says Milley, who served as chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff from 2019 to 2023. According to Woodward, the Army veteran was a source for Woodward's 2021 book, Peril. Milley, who Trump nominated to be the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, had previously made criticisms of the former president. Milley has also been criticized by the far right. I had a military vet turned podcaster tell me that Milley got too political, and I'm like, you don't think you got political when you became the host of a political podcast, you stupid fuck. That was the Don't Unfriend Me Bro was the name of his podcast. He totally wouldn't be my friend. Complete and total hypocrite. Trump has requested extra security, citing the concern from Iran. Where President Trump's team has requested added security, including military aircraft, to further protect, and yet another assassination attempt, possibly. That's just going to add fuel to the fire. Including military aircraft to further protect the GOP nominee in the final stretch of the 2024 presidential election, citing threats from Iran. Trump campaign co-manager Susie Wiles made a bevy of requests to Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe Jr., including providing military aircraft that can shoot down surface-to-air missiles as the former president campaigns in battleground states. Campaign's request also included armored vehicles, expansion of temporary flight restrictions over Trump's residences and rallies, and additional funding for local law enforcement agencies and the U.S. Secret Service. Also asked the USSS to pre-place the ballistic glass in all 7 swing states at Trump's outdoor rallies. Request for additional protection came as the GOP nominees' advisors have gotten briefings from intelligence community where they said that Iran is still planning to target Trump. As well they should! I don't know, that might get me a call from the Secret Service. I mean, don't they have a reason to? Talking about Iran. Where's my story about Iran? Since we came on early, I did not have time to put together a show. Iran has warned there is no red line after reports of Israel's payback plan. That's what Israel's calling it. Their payback plan. YouTube. Welcome in, T-minus. Joey, I don't know if I told you good evening. And friends. There we go.
Barrages by Iran-backed Lebanese armed group Hezbollah triggered sirens across northern Israel overnight.
I had to demand it to play.
Israel's army said in a statement its forces intercepted the projectiles, while it also intensified its attacks in Lebanon. The Middle East is bracing for further escalation as Iran's foreign minister warned in a social media post on Sunday that, quote, "We have no red lines in defending our people and interests." It follows a report by NBC that Israel may be looking to target Iranian military and energy infrastructure in its potential response to Iran's attack this month. NBC was
first at 5. Traffic along I-90 is flowing once again after a bomb squad.
We'll get to that. Definitely gonna do the bomb. Kind of ended abruptly. So yeah, I didn't get a chance to put a show together. I have to kind of look over what I've got here. Don't want to go to crime stories just yet. Came on early because apparently a third assassination attempt, but it might have just been a dumb fuck. You could always watch Dennis Quaid speak at this Trump rally. Here's JD Vance went on some podcast. Clinically, good evening.
He lost the 2020 election.
I think that Donald Trump and I have both raised a number of issues with the 2020 election, but we're focused on the future. I think there's an obsession here with focusing on 2020. I'm much more worried about what happened after 2020, which is a wide open border, groceries that are unaffordable. And look,
Senator,
Lulu,
yes or no?
Okay.
Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Let me ask you a question. Is it okay that big technology companies censored the Hunter Biden laptop story, which independent analysis have said cost
Hunter Biden's dick.
Donald Trump millions of votes?
Senator Vance, I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Did big technology companies censor a story that independent studies have suggested would have cost Trump millions of votes?
Why would that cost Trump millions of votes?
I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020
And I've answered
election?
your question with another question. You answer my question and I'll answer yours.
I have asked this question repeatedly. It is something that is very important for the American people to know. There is no proof, legal or otherwise, that Donald Trump did not lose the 2020 election.
You're repeating a slogan rather than engaging with what I'm saying, which is that when our own technology firms engage in industrial scale censorship, by the way, backed up by the federal government, in a way that independent studies suggest affect the votes, I'm worried about Americans who feel like there were problems in 2020. I'm not worried about this slogan that people throw. Well, every court case went this way. I'm talking about something very discrete, a problem of censorship in this country that I do think affected things in 2020, and more importantly, that led to Kamala Harris's governance, which has screwed this country up in a big way.
Senator, would you have certified the election in 2020? Yes or no?
I've said that I would have voted against certification because of the concern that I just raised. I think that when you have technology companies...
The answer is no.
When you have technology companies censoring Americans at a mass scale in a way that, again, independent studies have suggested affect the vote, I think that it's right to...
Who are these independent studies?
And that's a totally reasonable thing.
So the answer is no. And
where are these independent studies at? I'd really like to budget. You wanna talk about Elon and Twitter censorship? Let's do it. Elon personally intervened in order to reinstate Ken Klippenstein. His Twitter ban has been reversed. Last night, X reinstated my account after banning me on September 26th for publishing the JD Vance dossier. Elon Musk personally intervened in the name of free speech principles, according to correspondence I've seen. The exact same thing, only this totally more noteworthy than Hunter Biden's dick. That is the only thing that the Biden campaign asked Twitter to censor, was to enforce its revenge porn rules and take down Hunter's dick. Fast X safety for, I I've asked X Safety to unsuspend him, even though I think he is an awful human being, Musk told political commentator Brian Krasenstein. That's one of the like twin brothers, isn't it? That like they're grifters. Important to stay true to free speech principles. The reinstatement of my account later that day reversed what X had previously informed me was a permanent suspension. The only explanation I've received from X came in an email from Twitter support last night. The email reiterated my alleged violation of X's policy on posting private information, but also said that the incident may have been a mistake on my part, for which reason I was being unsuspended. The memo did not explain why X only just realized this, per the email. DJ Dub, good evening. If you're just joining us, there's a possibility that there was a third Trump assassination attempt, but after hearing the facts that we have heard, that it was a sovereign citizen with a homemade license plate walking around with a loaded gun, we kind of think he may have just been a dumb fuck and not actually there to shoot former president. He has released a statement. He is out on bond currently. Has released a statement, but I have not been able to find his statement. He apparently was. We're going to have video of him come out because he's apparently big on the podcast circuit. So here he is. Mitochondria, anonymously. Minty, good evening. Here he is interviewing James O'Keefe.
Men in this country, what's going on?
I think the men are in
T-minus, thank you for throwing out the gift sub.
And a wife who they may or may not be.
This is the dude arrested with a loaded shotgun outside of the Trump Coachella rally.
Compatible with, and a job which they're miserable at.
Wow. Is there an attack on masculinity, though? Do you feel like there's an attack on masculinity? Do you feel like they're trying to take the men out? Or is this like a crazy conspiracy theory in my head?
I do.
They're trying to take the men out.
I think there is an attack, but I think it's also the situations that
they're turning the friggin' frogs gay.
Like untenable. They're stuck in situations so they can't, and they're afraid. It's hard for them to get out of these situations. So what we're doing is trying to get people to grow a pair of balls and do the right thing.
James O'Keefe is a total
on the
dork.
topic of pair of balls, you definitely have balls the size of this room from what I noticed. What do you tell the men out there that are lacking that?
I tell them, what's the worst thing that can happen? If
James O'Keefe is a theater kid. He ain't got no balls. Not that theater kids can't have balls. Just throwing it out there, like he's in a production of Oklahoma. You can look it up. You can see video of it. Cosplaying a SWAT or something. I don't know. He likes to wear the tactical vest. Usually says press on it or something. God, he's all over the place. He's been with Russell Brand, RFK. Yeah. There's going to be all kinds of video of him online. Bim Miller, 49, of Las Vegas, taken into custody after deputies found him in possession of a shotgun, a loaded handgun, and a high-capacity magazine. Happened yesterday at around 5 o'clock p.m. Booked at the John J. Benoit Detention Center with charges of possessing a loaded firearm and a high-capacity magazine. The incident did not impact the safety of former President Trump or attendees of the event. Miller was released Saturday on a $5,000 bail and is scheduled to appear on January 2nd, 2025. Now, I'm assuming he's probably being talked to by the feds at the moment. He has released some sort of a statement. Cops are saying that they have prevented a possible third assassination attempt. He was totally a sovereign citizen. He had a homemade license plate. I am not seeing a statement from him, which is what I'm looking for. Tim Miller. I want the words from your mouth. Apparently a good friend of Mike Flynn. This whole thing is just wild. I can't find a statement anywhere. You can find video of him.
So one thing I don't get is that everything at this convention, at the Republican National Convention, is cashless. This whole place is cashless. So I don't know. See, that's a Republican National Convention behind me. Wonderful people.
Has he become disillusioned with Republicans?
I'm not happy that it's all cashless.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Here he is with Jordan Peterson. Here he is with Vivek. Oh no, who else you got? Who else you got? He's gonna be with everyone across the Republican sphere of influence.
So
ah shit, it's a loser train. Fucking Twitter don't work right anymore. I can't find his statement anywhere. Once ran for Nevada General Assembly. That's the guy that was arrested with a gun outside of Trump's rally at Coachella. The cops are saying, Thread, good evening. The cops are saying they have thwarted a possible third assassination attempt. But after hearing the facts, I think myself and everyone in chat has come to the conclusion this dude was just a sovereign citizen. He thought he had a right to have the gun there, and the cops couldn't tell him otherwise. And he's probably just a dumb fuck. He's already been released on bail. Trump rally attendee Vim Miller arrested at Coachella with 2 firearms in his car. The guy, we watched several videos of him already. Miller was stopped at a checkpoint near the former president's rally in Coachella on Saturday. Police found a shotgun, loaded handgun, high-capacity magazine. The vehicle had an obviously fake license plate and prompted further investigation. During that investigation, the deputy eventually found multiple passports, multiple names, multiple driver's license. His work as a content producer, Miller says he's learned a lot about politics and how the world of politics is run. He is with Jacob Chanley, the QAnon shaman. He ran for assemblyman position in Nevada in 2022. Was the scene at the Trump Coachella rally.
They can now prey on innocent Americans. If Kamala gets 4 more years, the entire country will become like the migrant camp of L.A. and San Francisco. What the hell is that? Look, it's Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln said.
I mean, probably not the worst act that was in that field this year. They arrested him outside of this rally. He was making his way through one of the checkpoints.
On November 5th, the migrant invasion ends and the restoration.
We didn't even find out this happened yesterday. Arrested around 5 p.m. local time. Was booked into the John Benoit Detention Center, made his $10,000 bail. We'd said $5,000 earlier, but apparently he was charged $5,000 for 2 misdemeanors. He's scheduled to appear in January. He's apparently released a statement, but we have not been able to dig it up. This is him with RFK. We've seen him with Vivek, Don Jr., the who's who in MAGA world. I really like the picture of him with QAnon Shaman. He looks really happy. Saw him interview James O'Keefe. A bunch of people were stranded at the rally. Apparently the buses ran out of gas. They didn't make plans to be able to get gas out into the desert. I believe this happened a couple different times in 2020. Get into crime stories just yet. We got some doozies. We have got some fucking doozies on the crime front. Totally get you ready for Halloween with a couple of disbodiments. Got a Halloween party. I figured Trump would still be on speaking, but wrapped up his speech about a half hour ago. Guess we can do, it was the Sunday morning talk show circuit. Liz Cheney was on Meet the Press this morning. Says she regrets her support for Donald Trump.
Liz Cheney, author of Oath and Honor, a memoir and a warning. Congresswoman Cheney, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Always a book plug.
Thank you for having me. Always great to be here.
Well, it's great to see you. Let's start right where I left off with House.
It is never great to see Liz Cheney.
President Biden has said that he doesn't know if there will be a peaceful transfer of power in 2025. You just heard how the House Speaker answered my questions about whether he would certify the election results. Do you have faith that this election will be free and fair and that there will be a peaceful transfer of power?
I would disagree, Minty. Better a butt plug than a book plug.
Will fulfill his constitutional obligations. And if you just look at what he did in 2020, he knew, and he knew with specificity, that the claims of fraud that Donald Trump was making.
Listen, if she wasn't a horrible woman, I would find her very attractive.
We had very clear and specific conversations.
She is evil.
He knew that courts had specifically found that those claims were false. He knew they weren't true. He also knew that what he was urging Congress do in terms of throwing out the votes of millions of Americans, he knew with specificity that that was unconstitutional. He was told that not only in discussions with me, but also by the House Republican counsel. He signed his name to a brief.
Why do I want Republican women to dominate me? What's up with that?
So he has a record.
This is something I'm finding out on stream with you guys.
He knows to be unconstitutional in order to placate Donald Trump. And frankly, you saw
I didn't know I had
now on display. So I think that it's very concerning. I do think that Donald Trump has consistently said again and again and again, in the last few months, that this election, is going to be rigged, and that if he loses, that's why. So I think it's very important that that the Republicans not be in the majority in the House come January 2025.
And when it comes to the possibility of a peaceful transfer of power, are you optimistic that there will be?
Yeah, look, I think that Donald Trump is not currently in the White House, so he does not have the ability to exercise the control he did in 2020 and 2021.
Yes.
I hear repeatedly from people like Mike Johnson, like J.D. Vance.
I'm assuming she's rich enough to buy health care outright.
Donald Trump sat and watched for over 3 hours.
You can give me a policy.
Our Capitol was brutally attacked by a mob that he sent there, while police.
I like Joni Ernst the best, though. She's my favorite. If I wanted to, and apparently going through a divorce, so maybe I've got a shot. Senator Joni Ernst, if you're watching, why would you be watching this fucking show? If you are, and you're single and totally into it, I clean up nice. I'll learn to wear a suit and stuff. I'll cut my hair for you. Sorry, Shelley. Hey, Joni Ernst is a good-looking woman.
And Donald Trump refused to tell them to go home for over 3 hours. So anybody who is interested in the truth ought to go look at those videos. We did not have a peaceful transfer of power in 2021.
Just this week, Senator J.D. Vance was asked 5 different times if Donald Trump lost the election. He refused to say yes. Polls show that millions of Republicans share that same view. How do you really reach those voters, those Republicans?
Yeah, I mean, I think people write the history of this period. The Republican elected officials who know it's false, who continue to spread the lie, will be among those who are shown to just be really complicit in this attempt to unravel.
And I'm so glad you're watching this show, to be
They are
honest.
spreading this lie. They know it isn't true. If we are going to be a nation of laws, we abide by the rulings of the courts. And Donald Trump had the opportunity. 61 out of 62 courts ruled against him. And he was told repeatedly throughout this period that what he was saying was false. So the fact that now you've got the Republican Party, the leaders of the party who are...
Were you saying I need to get laid so I stop lusting over Liz Cheney on my stream? Possibly.
Are in the grips of, it seems to me just to be cowardice, that they are afraid of Donald Trump, but that they are willing to perpetuate his lies at the expense of their duty to the Constitution, tells you something about the real damage that's been done to the Republican Party.
You told my colleague Savannah Guthrie last year, quote, a vote for Donald Trump may mean the last election that you ever get to vote in. That is an incredibly dire warning. Congresswoman, what exactly did you mean by that?
I think people really need to look very carefully at what Donald Trump will do if he were ever to be in the Oval Office again. The extent to which that, and he has said repeatedly that, he believes he will be immune. Certainly the Supreme Court ruling, whatever they thought they were doing, Donald Trump believes he will be immune for anything he does once he's in office. He will not respect the rulings of our courts. And people have to realize our courts can't enforce their own rules.
He ain't bad looking.
If a president refuses
his
obligation to do so, then we are no longer a nation of laws. Donald Trump will ignore.
You mentioned something about being the last election we'll ever vote in. I can tell you whose last election that they will ever vote in is this old woman who celebrated her 104th birthday.
And if you do have a 104th birthday, how do you think you might celebrate? Maybe a cake?
Thought about
Maybe
it.
a party? You hadn't thought about it because you're
seriously clinically.
Do all kinds of stuff with a 104th birthday
104th birthday party.
There's a lot of ideas you can have, but for one woman in the south suburbs, when she hit that milestone, her celebration included some very important business related to the election. NBC5's Chela Wachowski has this story from Olympia Fields.
She voted for Trump. I'm going to shit myself.
Hey, dear Jesus.
For Mother Jeannie McDuffie, this birthday is special not just because she turns 104, but because she's following through on a family tradition.
My dad always said it's always important to keep yourself abreast with the class of people that always vote and do the right thing.
It was 1964 when McDuffie first cast.
Who did you vote for?
Johnson had just signed the Civil Rights Act. Governor Otto Kerner had just cut the ribbon on what would become the Stevenson Expressway. And the Beatles were playing at Chicago's International Amphitheater.
That's all I know, to tell them and teach them the right thing, that God is. What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
But for Jeannie, who was the first African-American school teacher hired...
No, she's gonna say Trump, isn't she?
...of Arkansas, registering in Illinois takes a little extra help.
We were always taught the way you get your blessings is you bless others. And you do for others.
Calvin asked the Rich County clerk to handle the official documents.
You say she's concerned about immigration.
Voters here in Illinois in the township of Rich.
And this is only half the equation. Mother intends to cast her vote in person on Election Day. And she is proud to say she will be voting for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I'm going to vote if I had it.
Good.
A family coming together to reinforce the importance of casting your vote, no matter how old you are. In Olympia Fields, Charlie Wojciechowski, NBC 5 News.
I'm telling you, though, it could have been funny. She'd be like, I'm concerned with immigration. I'm sorry, Michael. Tell me not to lust after evil people when you've got Michael Myers as your profile picture. Just saying. Love you, brother. Love you. Glad to have you here. It's also Halloween time. Let me get you in the spirit with some Halloween stories. You want to do that? You want to get in the Halloween spirit? I do see yours. I see your Buffalo Bill profile pic. DJ Dub, please introduce me to Joni. Gonna do some stories to get you in the Halloween mood. 12 people shot at a Halloween party in Oklahoma City.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox, and good morning to you if you're just now tuning in. I'm JustinFREAKIN here for the next few hours to give you all of your breaking news headlines, top stories, and of course, your live events of your Saturday morning. We are 1 minute shy from the top of the 8 o'clock hour here on the East Coast, and as we come back on the air, we are following breaking news headlines that take us out to Oklahoma City. Take a look at the video on your screen. This is courtesy of KWTV News 9 in Oklahoma City. According to their website, they're saying at least 12 people were shot and 1 person was killed when a fight broke out early Saturday at an event center in southwest Oklahoma City. Police confirming this information to News 9. They go on to say the incident happened during a Halloween party at Patty's Event Center located near 59th Street and South Agnew Avenue. Oklahoma City Police Captain Valerie Littlejohn saying that shots were fired both inside and outside of the venue and that 1 person was killed. 2 victims are in critical condition at this hour. Multiple people have been detained in connection with this shooting, and police continue to interview several witnesses. We're told at this time there are no suspects in custody. The Oklahoma City Police Captain, Valerie Littlejohn, went on to tell News 9 that this was not a random shooting and that there is no reason to believe there is any public threat. Of course, this is a developing situation.
Yeah, keep your Halloween parties after like the 15th. Like the weekend or 2 before Halloween.
And this is preliminary information. So as we get more information into our live now from Fox Studio, you will be the first to know. But again, at this time, we are learning at least 12 people were shot and 1 person killed when a fight broke out early Saturday at an event center in Southwest Oklahoma City. You're taking a look at the scene video that has been submitted courtesy of KWTV News 9 there in Oklahoma.
Raven, I'm going to point out, is safer now than it has ever been. I know we sit here, we watch the most horrible news from across the country because it's kind of my thing. But we always need to put things in perspective. We just have more access to stories. Crime was worse 20 years ago, 30 years ago. But, you know, just random ass shootings. I'm kind of a shut-in as well. Random ass shootings is kind of a new phenomenon. 2 people are dead after shootings, one involving the police in Arizona.
Police say the incident started miles away in Phoenix and ended up here in Sun City behind.
Socialist Don.
Police say they were forced to open fire. 2 people are dead after a pair of shootings in different parts of the valley, including 1 man shot by police.
As officers attempted to contact the individual, that he produced the firearm, and that is where the officer-involved shooting took place.
This all started in the area of 49th Avenue and Thunderbird Road, where Phoenix police responded to a reported shooting at around 8 a.m. Sunday. There, they found a gunshot victim who died at the scene. Witnesses, however, giving police a description of the suspect's vehicle. When police found it, a pursuit began, ending up all the way in Sun City near 99th Avenue. And
pursuit, you say?
Concluded just behind the CVS here, where the driver of the vehicle exited his vehicle and attempted to walk away, gun in hand.
At this time, police believe only 1 officer fired their weapon. The suspect was taken to the hospital, where he also died. No one else was hurt.
Don't run!
Incident today here for our community where 2 people have lost their lives. We have 2 scenes going on. It's going to be a lengthy investigation. We will be out here. The streets are not really.
T-minus, thank you for throwing out the gift sub.
Will be shut down for the
Even those numbers up.
Also adding that there is no danger to the.
We were on 69.
Josh Cristianto,
nice.
Arizona.
Shootings are so prevalent in this country that we've got nurses getting run over while trying to help shooting suspects. Kelly, thank you for the resub. Several nurses injured in a hit-and-run accident.
A hit and run outside of a Philadelphia emergency room injures 3 nurses who were trying to help a gunshot victim who had just been dropped off.
These nurses are going out selflessly. They are thinking about themselves.
Police are searching for that driver tonight as the nurses are treated for their injuries. Good evening. I'm Aziza Schuler. This happened around 4 o'clock this morning outside of Penn Presbyterian Hospital in West Philly. CBS News Philadelphia reporter Ray Strickland has the latest.
It's devastating and it's a tragedy.
Hours after the 3 nurses were injured in the hit and run, Alicia Serpa visited the staff at Penn Presbyterian to drop off food and a card to show her support. Serpa says she works closely with the team at the hospital in her role with the company that has rehab facilities in Philadelphia.
It's so important for people to know when you're praying for them because it does change the spirit.
The injured nurses were hit by the car while they were treating a gunshot victim just outside the ER. Philadelphia police say it happened around 4 in the morning when a silver Jeep Cherokee dropped off the shooting victim. The driver, described as a man in his 20s, then hit the nurses and the man who was shot with the Jeep and took off.
When I heard the news this morning, it was shock and dismay.
Jennifer Potchin is a Philadelphia nurse and the president of the local chapter for the Emergency Nurses Association. Potchin says the hit and run serves as a reminder of the dangers emergency room nurses can sometimes face.
These nurses are going out selflessly. They aren't thinking about themselves. They're going directly out to try to save a life. And that's what we think about when we go out to help these patients to save their life. And we don't always think about our own needs or fears.
In a statement, a spokesperson for the hospital applauded the courage of the staff during the chaotic incident, saying in part, quote, "Our heroic staff continued to save the gunshot victim and care for all of our other patients, even as their own colleagues were suffering and being treated." And the hospital also says it's providing support resources for staff and the injured nurses' families. Ray Strickland, CBS News, Philadelphia.
Thank you, Ray. And just a short time
Thanks,
ago,
Ray.
told us they found that Jeep Cherokee, and at last check, one nurse and the gunshot victim were in critical condition. The other two nurses were stable.
A Kentucky woman was arrested. Apparently she was doing some kind of wild witchcraft. May have cooked her mom. Yes, I just said that. Cooked her mom.
Last night, Fox 56 was the only Lexington station on the scene as police investigated a gruesome discovery, a dead body found at a home in Robertson County. Tonight, Jay Sobardo is at the Bourbon County Detention Center where the suspect is now behind bars.
Andrea, this arrest citation reveals the grisly details of a tragic incident yesterday that left a woman dead. And what police found at the scene is like something you would see out of a horror film. We want to warn you, the information you're about to hear is graphic. Around 12:30 yesterday, Kentucky State Police were called to Briarly Ridge Road in Robertson County, where a caller had found a dismembered body. When officers arrived, they found a body in the backyard with arms, legs, and head severed. The torso was also split and organs were missing. Next to it was a blood-soaked mattress containing more body parts.
Damn!
With a warrant, police entered the house and found the suspect, Torlina May Fields. She was covered in blood and refused to come out. After using tear gas and a robot to communicate, police took Fields into custody. She's now held at the Bourbon County Regional Detention Center. Inside, police found more body parts cooking in a stainless steel pot in the oven. One of the men who called 911 said Fields had been casting spells and acting aggressively earlier that day. Fields faces several charges, including obstructing governmental operations, tampering with physical evidence, and abuse of a corpse. Now, the victim in this case has been identified, but authorities are still working to determine the next of kin. Out of respect for the family, we're not releasing that information at this time. In Bourbon County, Jay Sobardo, Fox 56 News.
I thought I had another one about a dismembered body. I had another dismembered body parts. Apparently I don't. You have this one of another mass shooting. You know, it's just another day.
The excitement surrounding TSU's homecoming event Saturday quickly turns to panic. Metro Police say during a street fair happening alongside the university's official parade and football game, two opposing groups
Found his body inside his truck, T-minus.
of Jefferson Street and 27th Avenue North.
The original report that we heard that we covered on the show here,
I thought it was just fireworks.
head was on top of the truck.
And everybody was just running, and I started running, almost fell. I just thank God it wasn't me.
One woman who asked us not to show her face says she stood right next to two young victims, both shot.
It was two girls right next to us. It was a girl that was shot in the stomach and she started bleeding out, and it was a girl shot in the leg.
I just saw him load them up and I just turned my head. It was so sad. It's just sad.
10 people were shot altogether, according to Metro Police. A 24-year-old man losing his life. 3 children were also struck, one 12 years old, the other 2 14. Numerous police and firefighters were already stationed at the street fair before the bullets flew.
They ripped off their belts and did things like
whipping people
as tourniquets because they did not have their medical bags with them.
The victim's injuries range from a bullet graze to critical wounds, according to Metro Police. Those who can are speaking with officers from the hospital as detectives review video surveillance from an MMPD camera already set up on the block at the exact intersection where the gunfire broke out. Officers also found a handgun at the scene and have pinpointed one suspect so far.
We are confident that at least one of the persons who is at a local hospital was involved in the actual gunfire, was shooting, had a gun.
See, back in the day, I went to.
Oh, son, he had a gun.
Nothing like this. It is sad. It is really sad out here. It is sad.
We're out here for a pimp. I got this one for you. A man accused of murdering his little brothers tries to just walk out of the courtroom. Sorry, they're not going to let you do that. Happened in Seattle on Friday.
A tense moment inside Kitsap County courtroom. Now this afternoon, where double murder suspect Seth South tried to get away from deputies, he was quickly stopped, as you saw there. South is accused of stabbing his 2 half-brothers to death inside their home in Poulsbo on Wednesday.
God damn.
Dave Detling went to the home where they live, and Dave, this all started when South called 911.
You're absolutely right. This case all started when Kitsap County Sheriff's deputies responded to that family's home after that 911 call was placed. And we want to warn viewers that details in this case are disturbing. Outside this Poulsbo home on Scandia Road, neighbors dropped off flowers and cards for the family impacted by Wednesday's double murder of 2 teen brothers.
Keep your hands out the window. If you reach in that car, I'm going to shoot you. Do you understand me?
Their accused killer, half-brother, 23-year-old Seth South, who lived in the home with the victims. Pierce County Sheriff's deputies' body cam video showing his takedown Wednesday night. Investigators believe South may have been trying to get to Missouri to kill another one of his brothers.
What?
On the ground, on the ground, on the ground. Stay right there.
Less than 24 hours later, South appeared before a judge in handcuffs, where lawyers asked for a mental competency evaluation. The prosecution stating the 23-year-old was a risk to himself and others.
The defendant, for the reasons stated, is an extreme risk of murder to another brother that is at large in our community.
The motive behind the alleged killings are still unknown. Documents obtained by Fox 13 state South was the one who called 911 to report the deaths, but claimed one of the victims slit their own throat. But probable cause documents tell a different story.
What?
Documents detail a phone conversation between South and a family member. That family member told investigators South admitted he killed 2 people, but didn't say who. There was also blood found in his truck.
Mission gets accomplished.
During Thursday's court appearance, South attempted to make multiple comments. He even tried walking away before correction officers grabbed him, keeping him in place. And South is being evaluated at a nearby hospital for that mental health exam. He is being held without bail. In Kitsap County, Dave Detling, Fox 13 News.
Well. Let's get more high, shall we? Let's get more high before we continue on through the parade of just dumb fuckery and horrendous news. Hopefully all the brutal murders are out of the way. I ain't promising nobody dies. Do the rest of the show here. Light one up, tip one back. It's also 8 o'clock Eastern time. Game on early to cover the apparent third Trump assassination. Let's do the opening again because I like it so much. We gotta fast forward. Yeah, boy.
This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol live. It's a freaking Sunday. We got news. All that news is fit to be newsed. Find out what it be doing. We're talking about a business owner who was apparently killed, his wife duct taped, had a fake worker show up at his house. We've apparently got video of the fake worker showing up at his house where he duct tapes the family and murders them. I got this dude that jumped from car to car. We've totally got to watch that. Lost it though. We're probably gonna watch this police chase that happened. I've got an officer speaking out about how he was pressured to write tickets. I don't know if we're gonna watch that. A third road worker was arrested. We covered this story the other day where there was like this drunk cop. And he should have been the one arrested because he was causing trouble. Cops showed up and like kept him until he was sober enough to drive. And then they came back. They've arrested 2 of the road workers. Apparently a third road worker was arrested. Dozens of people were injured after a chemical release at a Pimex factory. Oh, I did have another dismemberment story. The head and arms of someone that was found in a Colorado freezer has been identified as a missing 16-year-old girl. Yeah, we've got a pursuit that ends in a violent crash. We're going to talk about, like, apparently there are new allegations against Marilyn Manson. At least 6 people arrested after a train robbery in Chicago. A Queens warehouse was shut down after illegally being converted into a concert hall. All that and a lot freaking more tonight. The Troll Patrol live. Good evening. Still not high enough for this shit. I encourage everyone. Your marijuana accoutrements ready. Bowl here. Take another rip of this bong. Got a big week of debates coming up, including the Texas Senate debate this week, among many others. Almost out of weed. I don't believe you, media winch. Like, what does almost out of weed mean for you? Like a pound? You're under a pound? Crazy fucking news going on. Let's see. We want to start with fake utility workers. We got video of these fake utility workers apparently murdered somebody in a home in Rochester outside of Detroit. M-Lord, good evening. Here we go with the Latest update, apparently one of them has been arrested.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
The man police say was murdered by two fake DTE workers has been identified as business owner Hussein Murray, and new tonight, one of the suspects is behind bars. We received word of the arrest from the Oakland County Sheriff's Office just minutes before Local 4 News at 6 on Local 4 Plus.
Police tell us one suspect was arrested in Shreveport, Louisiana. That's over 1,000.
God damn.
Where the murder took place. Jacqueline Francis spoke to Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard.
Did he drive all that way?
Suspect continues.
We want to start here outside of a pawn and jewelry shop in Hamtramck. It's miles away from the crime scene in Rochester Hills. But this pawn shop is owned by the victim. If you take a look at the front door, it says, due to a family emergency, we are closed until further notice. And now police are telling us they believe there may be a connection between the murder and this pawn shop. This is 72-year-old Hussein Murray, a father, grandfather, and business owner. On Friday, the unthinkable happened. It started with a knock at the door.
Or DTE, or checking for gas leaks.
These two men posing as DTE employees were allowed inside the Murray's Rochester Hills home. Police say Hussein was taken to the basement and brutally killed, while his wife was tied up with duct tape.
The house was ransacked, and they were specifically looking for cash or a safe, things like that.
Police don't know if anything was stolen, but they do believe the crime was targeted and possibly connected to Hussein's Hamtramck pawn shop.
Whether it was specifically related to them owning a business, jewelry and pawn business, that would be kind of our intuition on this topic, but we don't know that for a fact yet, obviously, until we capture the folks and if and when they talk about their motive.
On Saturday, the man standing closest to the camera was arrested in Shreveport, Louisiana, more than 1,000 miles away from the scene of the crime. The search for the second suspect continues. The man barely seen here in the doorbell video, hanging back, appearing to be avoiding the camera. We have a statement given to us from the family. It's from Hussein's grandson. It reads in part, quote, "My grandfather was a man with a heart of gold who treated all those around him with kindness."
What an insane story.
They're heartbroken by the news of his death.
I'm sorry, a Hussein story.
Through this with the resolve he has instilled in us by being the man he was. Reporting in Hamtramck, Jacqueline Francis, Local 4.
Thank you, Jacqueline. DTE is issuing tips to protect you from falling victim to impersonation scams. First, check for identification. Legitimate employees will always carry and show photo ID badges. Also, there are no unannounced visits. DTE will always try to contact you before coming to your home. Lastly, verify with DTE before allowing anyone into your home.
I especially wouldn't open the door at fucking nighttime. Part of gold and jewelry. Trying to go in order of, gruesomeness. In news, it's if it bleeds, it leads. Since we're talking about home invasions here, how about this dude caught on a Ring camera?
A Memphis woman found herself staring down the barrel of a gun. You see the video. That's what she saw when she opened her Ring camera app yesterday morning. Behind that gun, a would-be car thief who threatened to kill her if she came outside. Let's go to Fox 13's Dominique Dillon live right off White Station Road and Juniper Avenue in East Memphis. So, Dominique, this is not the first time we've reported on something just like this either.
No, it's not. This is the third time in recent months that we've reported on criminals coming to people's houses and threatening them through the homeowner surveillance cameras. And the video we're about to show you shows criminals threatening this homeowner through their surveillance camera. And we also explain what she did to get them to go away.
Shoot on your plate when you come outside. Kid.
These kids need to be in school or in jail. Probably in jail. There's got to be a consequence.
Put the kids in the gulag.
The recipe of emotion the Memphis woman is feeling because of a visit from unwelcomed visitors early Sunday morning.
I was scared. I did not open the door. I don't understand why kids are out at 1:30 in the morning doing this all over the city. They should be in bed in their house.
This woman did not want to be
cup of warm milk
because the suspect who came to her home
tucked in
threatening her life has not been arrested, but she agreed to speak out, potentially to save a life.
Well, I don't want it to happen to anybody else, and I don't want anybody on my property.
The woman's neighbor on high alert after watching the video.
Somebody that's actually lost a car right around here, but windows have been broken further down the street, and one night that little side street Juniper had, I think, 2 or 3 broken.
This has happened before. Last month, Fox 13 told you about a retired Memphis police officer who found herself in a similar situation. We also told you about another incident in August in Berkeley.
On that video, that barrel up against that Ring camera, it was just like looking right down the barrel. And, I couldn't have felt bad if something had happened to them.
What?
The homeowner got the suspect to go away and leave her vehicle alone by setting off her car's alarm. Now, if you recognize the people in the video, for example, mannerisms, clothing, or voice, call Crime Stoppers at 901-528-CASH. Daryl?
That is Fox 13's Dominique Dillon live at East Memphis. Dominique, thank you.
Hey, Dominique, thank you. Girl the Gray, good evening. Sorry we came on early because there was apparently a third Trump assassination, but we don't think it was for real. It just seemed to be a sovereign citizen who was dumb and carrying his gun at a Trump rally. And so I didn't have time to put together a show, so I'm kind of doing this on the fly. Go to Vancouver, where police have released a video of a deadly shooting that took place September. I think we might have covered this. Vancouver police released body-worn video showing deadly police shooting in September. Gonna hit the content warning. This happened on September 27th. The footage shows the suspect, Michael Williams, with multiple firearms in his home. He apparently was taking shots.
Yeah, David, a
at the
warning
cops.
for viewers. Some of the video from the early morning of September 27th may be disturbing, and this all began when neighbors say the armed and intoxicated suspect threatened neighbors, slashed their tires, and fired shots into the air. On Northeast 71st Street in Clark County's Walnut Grove area, Vancouver police joined deputies around 11 p.m. on September 26th to handle a situation with an armed man. Drone video shows the suspect with multiple firearms, including a high-powered rifle. One of two investigators say he used to shoot at other neighbors and at officers.
You are under arrest. You need to come to the front door with nothing in your hands.
Video from body-worn cameras shows rounds striking the outside of the armored vehicle, shaking up the 6 officers inside it.
Oh. Fired. Yep, he's shooting at us.
Damn! I like how nonchalant she went. Yep, he's shooting at us. Damn!
Shows rounds striking the outside of the armored vehicle, shaking up the 6 officers inside it.
Oh. Fired. Yep, he's shooting at us.
You guys are alright. You're alright.
He still got his gun pointed at us.
The crisis negotiator continues, working to convince the suspect to safely surrender.
Come to the front door with nothing in your hands. Show us that you don't want to hurt anybody out here. Show us that you can be safe. Okay, that's the front window's going.
Despite hours-long efforts to de-escalate the situation, investigators say
armored vehicle
saw the suspect just after 2:30 in the morning at the sliding door with a rifle and what appeared to be a ballistic helmet and a gas mask. A Vancouver police officer on the force for 5 years and working with SWAT fired a shot, hitting the suspect in the neck.
He went down.
In the neck.
Down in the 3-side slider.
The suspect, later named as 56-year-old Michael Williams, died at the scene. Officers say they used the drone to clear the home, finding boxes of ammo, rifles, and handguns in a bedroom upstairs. That includes a rifle on a shooting tripod pointed out a window. Now, the officer who shot and killed Williams was placed on critical incident leave. The investigation and review of the shooting now being led by the Cowlitz County Sheriff's Office. David, back to you.
Thanks, Elma. Appreciate you walking us through that video.
Did she say Cowlitz County? God damn. Oh, that one was wild. I don't know if we can top that. This also happened outside of Seattle. I-90 shut down for hours due to explosive devices. A report from yesterday evening.
Once again after a bomb squad confirmed finding several explosive devices in a suspect's car. One of those devices lit and thrown at police. Good evening and thanks for joining News at 5. I'm Frankie Thompson. Blowing once again after a bomb squad confirmed finding several explosive devices in a suspect's car. One of those devices lit and thrown at police. Good evening and thanks for joining Fox 13 News at 5. I'm Frankie Thompson. This all started as a police pursuit in Bellevue, ending on I-90 westbound on Mercer Island. Fox 13's Dave Detling spoke with Bellevue police about this investigation. Dave, what are you learning?
Well, that mini press conference wrapped up about 20 minutes ago. And just for clarification, the suspect attempted to light the fuse of that bomb device.
Wait a minute, did we just see this guy reporting on something else a little bit ago?
But that is when Bellevue police made the quick decision to tackle him, and that is when that explosive device went onto the freeway, which caused this massive closure and the ongoing investigation. As you mentioned, all lanes are reopened. Traffic is flowing freely, but that wasn't the case earlier today. Here's what we know. What we can tell you is that 2 male suspects are in custody. This all started with a 911 call from a concerned resident about suspicious behavior of people in a parked car at a nearby park. When Bellevue police responded, they found 2 people asleep inside.
What a gorgeous area.
They put down spikes underneath the tires, and when they tried to make contact with the driver, that's when the driver woke up and took off, leading police on that small pursuit onto I-90. Apparently, the wheels were blown out. WSP also getting involved. They did a pit maneuver, and that is when we're
sounds like my kind of area, Lord.
In that vehicle bailed out of the car. The passenger took off on foot as well as the
need to head to the Pacific Northwest.
The driver took that bomb-like device that police described as a tennis ball wrapped in tape, attempted to light it and throw it at the Bellevue police officers. That is when law enforcement made the quick decision to tackle that individual.
The officers were just mere feet behind the suspect when they were able to see this explosive device, and they had to make a split-second decision to tackle him or back away. However, it was on a crowded freeway at the time, and things were very dynamic, and they chose to tackle this person and to get him into custody. What was interesting is we had a live device when we're arresting the suspect, which made it very dynamic, and we actually then had to care for the suspect's safety and drag him back to a point of safety before we even dealt with the device.
And this just goes to show what law enforcement did in those split seconds, putting their own lives at risk as well as the public, just to save them and make sure that
putting the public at risk
remains safe. Now, as you mentioned, in total, 3 explosive devices were found. I'm told the bomb squad safely detonated 2 of them. The 3rd device was described as a firework. Again, 2 people are in custody. Bellevue police saying they are questioning both of those suspects to find out why exactly they had those explosive devices in their vehicle. Unclear what they plan to do with them prior to being pulled over. Again, the roadway is reopened. And again, investigators telling us that both suspects are known to law enforcement. Live in Bellevue tonight, Dave Detling, Fox 13 News.
Not the only story about explosives shutting down a road. Let's go to Knoxville, Tennessee, where they had a box of dynamite. No, seriously. A literal box of dynamite that the bomb squad had to clear out. It's like a goddamn Acme cartoon or something. Looney Tunes up in here with a box of dynamite.
Squad members finishing, emptying that box believed to have been filled with dynamite, as well as blast caps, a component that detonates those explosives like dynamite. Now, this update comes as we get our first look at the box found at CMC Recycling in Northwest Knoxville. You see these pictures shared by police showing what's inside. Now, we have been bringing you live updates ever since the discovery was made yesterday afternoon, and then they made sure that they had that area with evacuation. 6 on Your Side reporter Dominic Webster joining us again tonight to get us the latest information and get us caught up on exactly what is going on. Dominic, some good news.
Yeah, Don, definitely some great
good evening.
Northwest Knox County today, as that evacuation has been lifted for this area, the 3,000-foot radius around CMC Recycling, including the large stretch of
mayor of this county is Kane, the wrestler.
Avenue reopening
something about explosions.
In the last 30 or 45 minutes or so, since they reopened the road here, it's picked back up to what it typically is. And you brought up that box that had the dynamite and blast caps inside. I just looked at those pictures before we came on air, and you don't really know the true size of what that box is. You can say 5x5 steel box all you want, but when you actually see a picture of it, you get the size of how big this actually was and how much dynamite and how many of those blast caps were actually inside of that. Now, the number we have heard is about 200 sticks of dynamite. We don't know the number of blast caps, and we won't get a final number until they debrief. I asked Chief Noel about that. He says, we got to go through and debrief and figure out how much was actually there. Mayor Kincannon telling us that there were 7 different stacks, and all of those stacks were doused in diesel fuel. And I don't know the science behind it. That's above my pay grade. But the diesel fuel counteracted the explosive properties of the dynamite. And we heard from both Chief Paul Noel and Mayor India Kincannon about the bravery of this bomb squad group that went in and removed the sticks of dynamite and those blast caps safely so that no one was injured and no harm was done to property in this part of town.
So these people, these men and women behind me, removed that dynamite by hand. Think about that. They removed a large amount of dynamite by hand all day today in the hot sun. I cannot stress how dangerous that was. The people you see
I cannot stress how funny this is.
Behind me are heroes. They are absolute heroes. They risked their lives for this community, and I could not be prouder.
There were some moments, you know, it was a very, very scary time when you have a box of dynamite that's smoldering. But our teams did it very professionally. Lieutenant Chadwell is the commanding officer of the bomb squad, and he and his team, they're here, and I just couldn't be prouder of their bravery.
But he doused it with diesel.
Yeah, you heard her bring up that box that was smoldering. Again, it was a 5
rendered the dynamite useless.
Steel box, and on the inside was a layer of wood. And when the workers went in and used that
wood
to cut that door open, that's when that wood ignited and was smoldering for hours upon hours yesterday afternoon into yesterday evening, and at 11 o'clock last night it was still smoldering. At the time this morning when they started working on it, the smoldering had stopped, which allowed crews to go in and start removing that dynamite. They started with one of the robots, the bomb tech robots. They removed the door. They started removing some of the pieces, but it was such a tangled mess from what we were being told inside.
You're gonna get into chemistry,
use those robots,
make drugs
without potential harm to people who are right around there, and an unwanted detonation of all of that the dynamite and those blast caps. So that's when the bomb techs walked in and started removing it by hand. They were removing it stick by stick, painstakingly, hours long.
Take one down and pass it around.
The bravery it takes to do that. There were 3 different squads on hand today: the Knox County Sheriff's Office bomb squad, the KPD bomb squad, and Metro National trip in from Davidson County to help out and clear this all out. The good news, like I mentioned, all of this reopened and people can come back home. Don.
Yeah, Dominic, thank you. And again, that is the good news.
Go out there and use your chemist skills to make DMT, LSD, and other 3 little words that are actually good. Box of dynamite. Since we're doing cowboy shit, you want some more cowboy shit? Let's do a train robbery. Train robbery in Chicago. At least 6 people arrested after a group steals boxes from a freight train in Chicago.
We begin with a freight train incident.
Can't speak. Good evening.
All evening long. People seen climbing into train cars, making off with boxes of items, and the chaos creating a major backup for Metro passengers. This is happening at the rail yard at Lake and Lockwood. So far, 6 people have been arrested. NBC5's JC Navarrete has our story tonight.
I had some people walk up, hey, don't come out here, you know, this street's blocked off. They had U-Hauls and stuff out here. I'm like, hey, what's going on, you know?
Armani Ramos walking us through what he saw firsthand.
It was a crazy moment, you know, you just see TVs, tires and stuff falling at. You know, I was driving down Kenzie and then, you know, a big old tire fell and hit my car. I was like, oh my God, I'm about to go off.
A brazen train burglary in broad daylight. One by one, boxes tossed out of a freight car and hauled away by the dozens down below, in cars, vans, even moving trucks.
And, you know, I actually wanted to pick one up myself, but
oh my God, Bagheera.
Sky 5 flying above the heights.
I want to pick one up myself. You should have, Amori.
You'll see cargo doors left open and boxes scattered on the rails. How many people do you think you saw?
I saw about 40. About 40 people.
And arrest us all.
No movement on the freight line behind me, and no movement for Metro either. The robbery forcing Metro to shut down UP West for hours stranding thousands of passengers in the process.
I was having a great day until now. Went to the Marathon Expo. You know, everything was going real well, and I thought, you know, something might be happening that's going to screw this up, and that's what happened.
Thomas is staying optimistic. Another passenger, not so much. He had a simple message tonight for the thieves that derailed his plans.
What the hell? I just say, what the hell? What were you guys thinking?
JC Navarrete, NBC5 News.
What the hell? That's what he says. This dude apparently pulled a daring getaway. A stolen Porsche to the roof of an Audi. This sounds amazing.
Start the news at 6 with a man accused of stealing a Porsche, then jumping on the roof of another car to escape police before taking officers on a hectic chase. Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
And I'm Greg Hirsch. Tonight, that man is facing numerous felony charges. Police say the car was originally stolen out of Knoxville. Our Shay Simon takes a deeper look at the accused car thief's history.
A car theft in Knoxville ended in a car chase in Memphis. It all happened on Covington Pike at I-40 when Memphis police officers tried to pull over Terrell Cunningham and another man in a 2018 Porsche. The wild chase went to White Station Road, into a neighbor's yard, then on the roof of an Audi where police say Cunningham hopped on, then eventually fell off. But it was a Corvette.
He hopped out of a Porsche.
Bars earlier this year. You may remember this video moments before a mass shooting in Orange Mound. Police say Cunningham was the driver. WREG was there in May when he was charged in court.
Did everyone catch that? He jumped off of the Porsche while it was in motion and onto an Audi.
Out of Knoxville. Our Shay Simon takes a deeper look at the accused car thief's history.
A car theft in Knoxville ended in a car chase in Memphis. It all happened on Covington Pike at I-40 when Memphis police officers tried to pull over Terrell Cunningham and another man in a 2018 Porsche. The wild chase went to White Station Road, into a neighbor's yard, then on the roof of an Audi where police say Cunningham hopped on, then eventually fell off.
Hopped on and then fell off.
But it was a Corvette that put Cunningham behind bars earlier this year. You may remember this video moments before a mass shooting in Orange Mound. Police say Cunningham was the driver. WREG was there in May when he was charged in court.
Cunningham charged with reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon.
In 2022, Cunningham was charged for murdering a man at another park, but that case was eventually dropped. Police say this time around, Cunningham was busy. The keys to the stolen Porsche and admitted to having a backpack with a gun and Glock switch. So he's facing multiple charges, including auto theft and evading arrest. For your news leader in Memphis, Shay Simon, WREG.
He jumped. I wish we'd had a video of it. How did the cops not have like dash camera footage or body camera footage? Go to Michigan, where apparently this cop assaulted a 64-year-old woman at a football game.
We begin with a Detroit police officer accused of being on the wrong side of the law. Thank you for joining us for 7 News Detroit at 6. I'm Mike Duffy. While off duty, he's accused of repeatedly punching a man more than twice his age. It happened after a football game last year at Chippewa Valley High School. This is new surveillance video.
I thought it was a woman.
Here's 7 investigator Ross Jones with what the department is saying about the officer's conduct.
People versus Philip John Rodriguez.
A Detroit police officer had a court date this week over an alleged assault that took place more than a year ago.
Officer Philip Rodriguez was off duty at the time last October, attending a football game at Chippewa Valley High School. While there, according to police records, Officer Rodriguez's truck was parked where it shouldn't be, blocking an entrance used by the high school's marching band. After an announcement was made to move the vehicle, Rodriguez's girlfriend would. And when she did, she said she encountered a school employee who yelled profanities at her. The employee would deny using any profanity, but said he told the woman not to park there.
He's just a Karen.
Surveillance camera captured this. That's Officer Rodriguez returning in his truck, and that's the school employee, a 64-year-old man, who said Rodriguez asked him, "Do you want to say that to a man?" It was then, he said, that the officer shoved him, then punched him repeatedly, knocking him to the ground. The 64-year-old would tell police that while he was on the ground, Rodriguez punched him 5 times in the face. A woman who said she witnessed the assault reported pulling the officer off of the man and said the officer then shoved her. When Clinton police responded, they said the school employee had a laceration on his face along with dry blood and a swollen lip. Then last December, Officer Rodriguez was charged with aggravated assault and assault and battery.
Good.
Did you know about this? Absolutely not. The first time I heard about this is when you brought it to my attention.
Ricardo Moore is a Detroit police commissioner who reviewed the police report from that night, along with the surveillance video of the alleged assault.
If it was an issue where police needed to be involved, the officer would know to call the police himself, not take matters into his own hands and assault an elderly man.
Since December, Officer Rodriguez has been on paid administrative leave from the department. His father is a high-ranking official in DPD, captain of the city's 12th precinct. The department said that connection played no role in Chief James White's decision not to pursue Rodriguez's pay. Instead, they said, it was based exclusively on the seriousness of the misconduct and the feasibility of obtaining board approval for the suspension, not who his father is.
Officer Rodriguez has pleaded not guilty and is scheduled for a bench trial on November 19th. His attorney declined comment while the case is pending. Detroit police say they are monitoring Rodriguez's criminal case closely and that possible discipline could include termination. Mike?
All right, Ross, hate to see something like this happen. Thank you for that report.
Seriously, Thread, doesn't that sound amazing? Punch a motherfucker and get 11-month paid vacation. Go to happened in Philadelphia? No, St. Louis. Happened in St. Louis. Covered this story the other night. This is a follow-up.
First on Fox, police arrest a third road worker today in connection with the work zone assault case we first told you about Wednesday. He is the worker who raised concerns about the arrest of 2 of his colleagues. And
wow.
Fox Files investigator Chris Hayes.
And then I noticed that the door was open. And the guy was outside of his vehicle.
Road worker Garrett Gibbs is now locked up on criminal charges that in prison. Wednesday, he spoke about the arrest of his 2 colleagues for an assault in a work zone here at Lindbergh and Lee May. Gibbs says they were the ones attacked by a man they claimed was an off-duty police officer, insisting on driving through their work zone.
Our equipment was actually on this road right here, so he would have turned into an active work zone with workers standing in the middle of the road. The off-duty officer then took a swing at one of the workers, the one I was standing in between, and he missed him and he actually hit me.
This interview appeared on Fox 2 Wednesday night. At about noon Thursday, police swarmed Gibbs as he was driving his work truck. Gibbs was arrested here on Elm Avenue in Webster Groves.
Bullshit.
7 undercover police cars. Gibbs' mother said police were also at their Fenton family home serving a search warrant. The court records now unsealed with this third arrest. St. Louis County Police providing this booking photo of road worker Matthew Devlin. saying he used repeated racial slurs while screaming at the victim, including stupid N-word and go back to the hood with your gold chain. Police claiming he struck the victim in the head with a hard hat. Police also providing Donnie Hurley's booking photo, alleging he and Gibbs held the victim down while Devlin, quote, beat him with a hard hat. Court records say the off-duty officer victim said he was choking at one point, pleading with the workers he could not breathe and that officers interrupted the fight. Gibbs had volunteered to us in our previous interview that Devlin did use a hateful racial slur.
He did say one thing that the officer kept repeating, if I wasn't a cop, I'd beat your right now. Matt said to him, well, you're not acting like a cop, you're acting like a, and it was the hard R.
Devlin's wife also acknowledged it.
Damn!
I'm not super proud of the fact that it was used. You know, I am not, I don't agree with that.
Gibbs maintained none of them are guilty of the assault and kidnapping charges they face. They'll be in court next week. For the Fox Files, I'm Chris Hayes.
Even if he did say it, like, that's not a reason to possibly lock him up for the rest of his life. That is definitely the cop retaliating. There's some fucked up shit going on there. Dozens of people were injured after a chemical release at a PIMX facility. Happened in Texas. Outside of Houston. Ponder Monkey. Fleabag, welcome in. I know what that news be doing.
At the Pemex oil refinery.
Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez says at least 2 people were killed and several others hurt. The refinery is along State Highway 225. Let's get right to Stephen going live near the refinery with what happened tonight. Stephen.
At the Pemex oil refinery.
Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez says at least 2 people were killed and several others hurt. The refinery is along State Highway 225. Let's get right to Stephen going live near the refinery with what happened tonight. Stephen.
Len, Mia, we're being told this is still an active incident. In fact, the 2 people who died, we're told they are still at the scene. Authorities are waiting for some of this chemical, this hydrogen sulfide, to dissipate before they breach that room where this gas leak happened. Beyond
bullshit.
That, Deer Park says there is no threat to the community tonight. Now, take a look. We want to show you some video from this scene earlier. You can see a pretty big response from law enforcement. We're being told this gas release happened around 4:40 p.m., but emergency responders weren't alerted until sometime after 5. Just moments ago in a press conference, Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez explained this all started when employees were working on a flange of some kind and hydrogen sulfide gas started to leak. We are now being told that 2 people died at the scene and dozens of employees were impacted and triaged. Earlier, there was a report that someone was airlifted to the hospital, but we're told that did not happen, though Life Flight did respond. At this hour, as I mentioned before, the mayor of Deer Park says there are no chemicals being detected in the community and things are safe out here. Take a listen to what officials had to say.
We believe at this point that there's 2 persons deceased on scene. We're trying to confirm the number of individuals that were being triaged at the scene. We're told that approximately maybe 35 were either transported or were triaged at the scene and not released. So we're trying to verify those numbers, but at least 35 others that were impacted, but at least 2 have been confirmed deceased. Now, we don't know if there could be more. We just haven't been able to actually make entry into the unit itself.
We are at this moment lifting the shelter in place in the city of Deer Park. We have a confirmation from our air monitoring sources that there's been no detectable or reportable narratives. With that said, we do know there's still going to be some remnants of odor in the air.
Now, we know this gas release prompted shelter in place orders in both Deer Park and Pasadena. Both of those orders have now been lifted, and we're told there is no threat. even though, as the mayor, you just heard him, he said the smell of this hydrogen sulfide gas, which has a bit of a rotten egg smell, that is lingering. Now, it has been information from Pemex throughout the day, but we did get a statement about an hour and a half ago. They said some members of the community will see flaring as they are trying to kind of release some more of this chemical so they can breach that room and get to these employees who are now deceased. They say they will continue to monitor the air quality. We know that officials from Harris County will also be monitoring that air quality throughout the night and tomorrow as well. This is a developing story and we're going to stay on it. We will bring you any updates on air and online. For now, we're live in Deer Park. Stephen Goen, KHOU.
Thank you, Stephen. I'm going to try to get you into the spooky mood. One of the best rockers, get you in the spooky mood, by the name of Marilyn Manson. Apparently has some fresh allegation against him, which he is denying.
New anger and possibly new evidence in the sex abuse case against Marilyn Manson.
I am one of over a dozen women who have come forward publicly at immense personal risk to provide evidence about how Marilyn Manson has sexually assaulted them. We are all still waiting for answers.
This week, the shock rocker is back.
Is this shocking to anybody?
Stories fight for the front page.
There's been a lot of people who have been interviewed. There are multiple victims. And from time to time, you know, there's new things that come up.
At the same time, the prosecutors say there is new evidence in the long-standing accusations of rape and abuse against the Beautiful People artist. There are also accusations that the district attorney is fumbling the case and ignoring alleged victims.
I can believe that as well.
There are no official charges against Manson. He's denied all the accusations.
Lock his ass up.
By the Los Angeles Police Sex Crimes Division and LA County DA has been ongoing for years.
It is not uncommon for sexual assault cases to take years to investigate, not just with celebrities, but with anyone. You want to make sure you get it right. If you have multiple victims, you need to shore up that case.
The 55-year-old singer stands accused by multiple women of sexual abuse, including ex-girlfriend, actress Evan Rachel Wood, and Game of Thrones actress Esme Bianco, who held a news conference yesterday demanding action.
Almost 4 years ago, I did what victims of rape are supposed to do. I went to the police. I described to them in agonizing detail how the rock musician Brian Warner, better known by his stage name Marilyn Manson, had raped and abused me over the course of our relationship. I presented to them hundreds
I think his friends call him Marilyn or Brian.
Photos of my body covered in bites, bruises, and knife wounds, emails and text messages.
The allegations against Manson, whose real name is Brian Warner, go back many years. Bianco was the first accuser to share her story on camera with ABC News back in 2021.
He had sold me the premise of this music video. It was for a song called I Want to Kill You Like They Do in the Movies. And it got to the stage where he wanted to shoot the finale of the video, and he locked me in his bedroom and he tied me to a wooden prayer kneeler. I was half naked and he beat me with a whip and he filmed it.
Bianco provided ABC News with this photo, which she says is her back marked with whiplashes taken after the incident. Manson's ex-fiancée, actress Evan Rachel Wood, spoke with ABC back in 2022.
So many survivors live in fear of judgment and retaliation, and mainly live with shame. And I know because I experienced it, and it was time to stop being silent.
None of your business. Wood is known for her roles in hit films like 13.
Let me see that. No, Mom!
And shows like Westworld.
Is this really what you want?
They never gave us a choice before, Teddy.
But in 2018, the actress took on a new role as an activist for domestic violence and sexual assault victims, testifying twice before lawmakers about what she says was her own personal experience with abuse.
He broke me down through means of starvation, sleep deprivation, and threats against my life.
Wood and Manson dated on and off for more than 4 years.
He responded after you named him publicly, saying horrible distortions of reality, saying that his intimate relationships have always been entirely consensual with like-minded partners. What did you think of his response? From what I can tell, he's alluding to the fact that maybe this was just kinky sex. Brian and I did not.
No, thank you, Ram Ranch. I would like to shit tomorrow.
We did not have kinky sex.
Long before getting involved with Wood or Bianco, Manson had fostered his controversial stage persona, the shock rocker known for The Dope Show.
I'm fantastic. Doing a lot better than Marilyn Manson. Now Nightline's got me demonetized on YouTube.
Was massively popular in the 1990s and early aughts, embracing his reputation as a provocateur.
Yeah, he really fell off.
It's a fair assessment to say that
he had like 3 good albums.
Advertised. No, I mean, I don't think the world would have put him on such a pedestal.
Maybe 2.5.
They thought that his act was real.
Manson has fought back against the accusations of sexual abuse, a statement saying his accusers are misrepresenting the past, saying, obviously my art and my life have long been magnets for controversy, but these recent claims about me are horrible distortions of reality.
I believe it.
Relationships have always been entirely consensual.
Not that it's horrible distortions of reality. No, I believe the claims against you.
Dita Von Teese has said that the accusations don't match her experience with the rocker during their 7 years together. Former girlfriend Rose McGowan has said,
I can imagine that he was a completely different person 25 years ago. And that fame and money just goes to your fucking head. And perhaps he has real bad drug problems, alcohol issues. I bet he has gotten worse and worse as the years have gone on.
He was not abusive to her during their relationship, but reflected on him in hindsight this way during an interview with ABC News in 2018.
Yeah, he turned into a pretty vile person. I really look back on our time together with fondness, actually, because it was the only kindness given to me. Maybe it wasn't even that kind. Who knows? Maybe I just misinterpreted it.
A number of women have filed civil lawsuits against Manson in the last few years, including Bianco. He has continued to deny all allegations against him, calling them untrue and meritless. Manson and Bianco eventually settled her civil lawsuit privately. Today, Manson's lawyer says he wants the DA to release the evidence, quote, so that everyone can see that what she says in front of a camera is directly refuted by the actual evidence in this case. Bianco contends the evidence will help arrest Manson, but she says that's something the DA has failed to do.
I have reached out to Mr. Gascon directly, time and again, asking for him to meet with me and to offer an explanation.
Damn it, George Gascon.
Made a decision on whether to prosecute. And time and again, he has ignored me.
Esme Bianco is facing a very common frustration that many alleged victims of crimes go through, and that's in the delay of pressing charges. But in a case like this against Marilyn Manson, the amount of evidence that the prosecution supposedly has and the time frame that they've had it, that seems to be quite a long time before charges are pressed.
We are convinced that all this sexual assaults occur, right? Frankly, often some of these witnesses, because some of these cases are old, finding the people, getting people to remember has been very difficult.
Gascon sat down with my co-anchor Juju Chang just hours after his office had announced it had new evidence in the Manson investigation, but he would not disclose what that evidence is.
Can you characterize the new evidence?
I cannot. It's not new allegations, right? It's corroborating evidence to some of the allegations that we've been working on. I cannot get into the details, but I can tell you that, that corroborates, some of the victims' allegations.
So allegations that have been in the pipeline for years?
They have been, correct.
And
I got a pipeline for you.
Charges might you be pursuing?
Well, again, because it's very early, we still got to confirm, and, we're working on this, but, you certainly have, you have forcible rape, right? Some of the stuff literally just came up just in the last 3 or 4 weeks. We're being also very careful because it seems promising.
Meanwhile, Bianco continues to speak publicly, demanding action while awaiting potential criminal charges.
Victims cannot be left to just fall through the cracks. The very least the elected district attorney can do is investigate and prosecute cases in a reasonable time frame.
This is what true dignity and respect looks like to survivors. Justice delayed is justice denied.
If you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence and you
shut up, Lester.
Please call the domestic abuse.
Oh, that wasn't Lester, was it? Fire resist. No, no, no. It was probably Marilyn Manson who's going to claim he's been canceled or some shit. You're going to go hard right-winger. You're going to come out here with a MAGA hat saying they're trying to silence him. What a wild turn that would be, wouldn't it? I think it might happen too. Band is canceling their North American tour after they had about $100,000 worth of equipment stolen from them.
Tonight we are hearing from an indie rock band that lost everything while touring in Seattle. Their van and trailer were stolen, along with all of their gear and their merchandise. King 5's Brady Wakayama spoke with the band, and he's here with the latest tonight. Brady.
Joyce, I spoke with two members of the Philadelphia-based band Spirit of the Beehive. Their spirits are low right now as they make their way back home. With all their gear stolen, they had to cancel the rest of their American tour. The band says it's more than $100,000.
How's your recent stay in Seattle?
A question that can be answered with one word.
Sucked.
That's Corey Wickman and Zach Schwartz, members of the indie rock band Spirit of the Beehive.
I think all of us had a little bit of a cry. Yeah, it was pretty devastating to lose pretty much everything.
After they performed in Seattle last week, video captured this theft around 4 o'clock Friday morning at the band's hotel near SeaTac. The video shows two cars pulling up next to the band's trailer, hitched to the van. One person gets out and starts walking toward the van. Within a minute, the suspect is able to get inside and drives away.
We had a boot on it, everything was padlocked, they just drove straight through the boot to break it. We had an Apple AirTag in there that apparently died.
The band says the trailer was recovered that afternoon in West Seattle, empty. On Sunday, police told the band they found the stolen van too. It was taken to a nearby impound lot. A few hours later, they got news of more bad luck. The van was stolen again, this time from the impound lot.
Burst out laughing, honestly, at that point. It's just kind of comical.
Just another instance of hope that was pretty immediately taken away.
And taking away more than $65,000 worth of gear and equipment, $8,000 worth of merchandise, and other priceless belongings.
Our live show files for our recordings that we cannot physically get back. So that stuff is probably what hurt the most.
The band says the remainder of the tour is canceled, but they do hope to come back to Seattle.
We'll be back.
We love Seattle.
The band says they appreciate everyone who has shown their support, donating money, gear, and equipment. In the studio, Brady Wakayama, King 5 News.
Thanks, Brady.
I hope they get some good press from this. Featured on the Troll Patrol. Hopefully it's like, the teachers with the OnlyFans. Get some good press. Meanwhile, a warehouse in Queens was shut down after it was illegally converted into a concert venue. Party poopers. How are they going to do that to the kids? Poor kids don't have any place to party.
We begin this evening's broadcast with a major bust in Elmhurst, Queens. A venue normally used for sports was unlawfully transformed into a concert hall.
It was packed.
Who cares?
With hundreds of people. Alcohol and food were sold there.
Hell yeah.
Eyewitness News reporter Janice Hughes spoke to the owner of the warehouse, and he says it's all just a big misunderstanding.
This warehouse on Barnwell Avenue appeared quiet and unassuming Saturday afternoon. The owner, Jesus Rodas, says this Queens spot is an indoor space for sports. But the NYPD says that wasn't the case early Saturday morning.
So I'm going to additionally have crowd control. I got about 300 people inside that building.
NYPD Deputy Commissioner
Who gives a shit?
posted these photos on social media. He says the warehouse was illegally transformed into a concert hall. Daughtry tells Eyewitness News officers were initially called to the area because of a fight in the middle of the street. But when they arrived, they found hundreds of people packed into a warehouse with alcohol and food for sale. Rhoda says he took over as the owner 6 months ago and says the party last night was just for family.
Oh, this is the party is the family. It's no business. The old people is like family. I make.
Oh, see, it's just family.
It's not for me. It's not too much people,
It's just 300 family members.
I don't know. Somebody called for this.
I believe it.
Yeah.
According to Daughtry, this event was dangerous with possibly 500 people packed inside.
Ah.
This was the first time a party like this had been held at the location. Officers wrote several summonses for selling alcohol amounting to thousands of dollars. Daughtry also suspects people underage were drinking. Rodas, however, says he doesn't believe people were in any danger.
We say we're safe.
Do you think it was dangerous?
For me, no.
In Queens, Janice Yu, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Yeah, totally not dangerous. I'm on his side. Seemed like a fun time. Apparently people trying to have a fun time in Salem, Massachusetts is causing headaches for the locals here during this Halloween time. Spooky season.
Traffic frustrations on the North Shore as drivers heading to Salem are weaving their way through neighboring towns. And that has plenty of critics blaming social media. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on CBS News Boston. I'm Ken McLeod. Spooky season is certainly upon us.
Not high enough for this shit.
Congestion. In fact, as WBZ's Paul Burton shows us, some people living in Beverly have had enough.
Salem is sizzling with tourists.
Busy, exciting, historic.
And with Halloween just weeks away, the peak of tourism season in Salem is getting busier by the day, causing gridlock traffic in and out of the city.
It's horrible. I am going to pick my friend up in Beverly because she needs a ride, and I can't get there.
Residents in both Salem and surrounding communities say trying to navigate during the
Thanks to climate change, it's all bright and sunny there.
I can get a spot.
In October.
Similar to Mardi Gras, it's bumper to bumper. You really can't get around. It's a very small city, so it's definitely not a lot of places to go, so everything gets stuck.
If you're driving, you're signing up for a pretty bad time.
Salem Mayor Dominic Pangallo is asking all residents to pack their patience and take public transportation. With no direct highway access getting into Salem.
Delaware.
It's tough in all of our surrounding communities. The economic benefits are regional as well. The travel and tourism sector for the North Shore brings in close to $1.3 billion in spending. It supports 8,000 jobs.
Some people are complaining about it more and more.
George Sampson works in Beverly. He sets up his belt and wallet vending business every weekend. He says a lot of Beverly residents are complaining about the traffic flow from Beverly to Salem this time of year.
I have to wait for a lot of cars to go by that are using Essex Street to get out to 128 now.
Aside from all the traffic, the other challenge is parking. Salem has approximately 4,000 parking spots, and the mayor says they can get as many as 65,000 visitors on a weekend.
Over 100,000 as we got closer to the end of the season, so do the math. You're not going to find a parking space. If you're planning to come to Salem, come by train, come by ferry.
Yeah, I got a lot of nice people that are just tourists and they want to get out of Salem for a day and they come over here.
Which leads to gridlock traffic.
Take a train, take a ferry, don't drive. It's definitely adding to the traffic of the city, and the residents don't like it.
You gotta go with the flow.
The residents don't like it.
I'm Paul Burton, WBZ News.
There you go. I gave you Marilyn Manson body dismemberment. Salem, Massachusetts, trying to get you into the spooky mood. Curiouser, welcome in. The nerds at the Renaissance Festival in Nevada are upset that they keep getting towed.
Parking chaos at the Renaissance Festival. Frustrated drivers say they're out hundreds of dollars after they say their cars were towed away. Our Giovanni Carrillo spoke with frustrated festival goers looking for answers.
What was supposed to be a fun time here at the Renaissance Festival quickly turned into a parking nightmare. Well, festival goers say their cars were towed away unfairly at this parking lot that you see right behind me. But the tow truck company tells me that parking signs are clearly posted on light posts like this one right behind me.
It's so sad that trying to make money off people that came to have fun. It's just so sad to see that.
Andy Rowe is out more than $500 after her son's car was towed away from this plaza on the corner of Eastern and Sunset Road Friday afternoon.
It is wrong.
Her 17-year-old son and his friends were going to the Renaissance Fair and decided to park at the plaza, but after a few hours, his car was gone.
They picked up our car, my kid's car, and took it all the way to North Las Vegas. But then when I got there, I was shocked that for a 20-mile drive that they took the cars, their charge was over $500.
And while there were parking signs like this one, warning people
it's a huge scam.
Customers, tenants, or employees, their cars will be towed. However, she says the area her son parked, the signs were not visible.
When you know there's a big event, there should be some kind of a tape, there should be more indication. My kids actually ate at the McDonald's, which is still in the same parking complex. How do you justify that he only went to Renaissance and he was not actually using the other?
He went to the McDonald's.
Around.
She is not the only one who got towed. Channel 13 has received multiple emails and calls from frustrated Renaissance Fair attendees like Denise. Her car also got towed from the same plaza on Eastern and Sunset Road. She said, quote, "They knew the fair was happening and they targeted the area knowing there was
if you frequented one of the businesses
sign off of the entrance of Eastern and Sunset." Now I reached out to the two towing companies picking up the cars. King's Towing hung up after we started asking questions.
I bet.
Called again, and they said no comment. Meantime, Tow Guys tells us they did nothing wrong and followed all the rules. Now we also visited the plaza where the cars were being towed. A few minutes after we arrived, we saw cars being taken away. I asked the tow truck driver how many cars have been towed, and he responded by saying, quote, "A lot." He says the sign is clearly posted. They're just doing their job.
There should be more indication to prevent people park and then all of a sudden give them this outrageous bill.
Now we also drove around different plazas around Sunset Park. Now several businesses had a yellow tape up and big signs that said no event parking. For now, reporting from Las Vegas, I'm Giovanni Carrillo.
Painter next to me. A woman called 911 after a gang surrounded her. Maybe they're not called a gang. Maybe it's a gaggle.
This next story is a perfect example of why you shouldn't feed wildlife. Hundreds of hungry raccoons took over this Washington state home.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no. Oh,
the woman who lives there told local deputies that she's been feeding a few random raccoons for decades. Well, word must have got out because recently hundreds have been showing up for a feast, and the problem got so bad she couldn't even get inside her home, so she had to call 911 for help.
Oh no.
How do you walk that back, though?
Look at that. Look at me.
So, why do I think they're so cute?
They're adorable.
I know.
My boyfriend's family had a raccoon.
Like a pet one?
They had a pet, Cozy.
This girl has a lot.
Cozy the raccoon.
You know, babyhood.
No, perfect example of why you shouldn't feed wildlife. Hundreds of hungry raccoons took over
just
this
babies.
state home.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no. Oh,
the woman who lives there told local deputies that she's been feeding a few random raccoons for decades. Well, word must have got out. because
Some of them can be nuisances, yeah. Just like anybody.
the problem got so bad she couldn't even get inside her home, so she had to call 911 for help.
Oh no.
How do you walk that?
Cat is a nuisance, but I still love him.
So, why do I think they're so cute, though?
They are really cute.
I know.
My boyfriend's family had a raccoon.
Like a pet one?
They had a pet, Cozy.
Hungry raccoons took over this.
This is not your animal story tonight.
Oh no. Oh
the woman who lives there told local deputies that she's been feeding.
They can be, or they can be sweet.
Decades. Well, word must have got out because
my
recently
gosh.
hundreds have been showing up for a feast, and the problem got so bad she couldn't even get inside her home, so she had to call 911.
Who wants a police chase? A reckless driver in LA apparently has a spectacular ending. They're funny little tricksters.
In on where exactly this vehicle is.
Happened Friday, Saturday.
This is a super dangerous one here, Pat. West
Does not have his lights on.
The 710 freeway. This was a CHP from the East LA office that was chasing this vehicle. There's no one directly behind the suspect right now. They were up to 120 miles an hour on the 710. We've had a couple of
Raccoons are smart.
Now they have the lights off. Look at this, 80 miles an hour right now. It was the sheriff's helicopter overhead, which has been trying to keep tabs on this one from the air, but we are blasting westbound towards
So we came on early because of the third Trump assassination attempt.
right now, making our
May not have been an assassination attempt.
as well.
Oh yeah, I'll totally get you the raccoon story, Michael.
And the lights off. Folks cannot see this maniac coming up behind them. Let's see what he's going to do next in the left-hand turn lane, but continuing on westbound Firestone here. So really, really dangerous one. We don't know what this suspect is wanted for right now. We weren't able to get that information just yet, but
Well, now it's resisting arrest.
happen here. Unfortunately, they're kind of headed towards the LAX airspace. But look at this, 80 miles an hour on Firestone. Super dangerous pursuit here, Pat, that's for sure.
And you know what, Des? We might find
Yes.
out why they are so desperately after this person, because Mike knows what the one is, right?
Yeah, we just heard it is a 23109 is the vehicle code. That's reckless driving, which obviously this person is doing. Pat, I just want to also let you know we just got word there may be a young child inside of the car as well. The CHP
You're very welcome.
has some information that there may be a child in the car. They're still trying to work to confirm that. But again, reckless driving was the original want here.
Okay, and guys, you know, you hate to speculate, but if there's a young child, if it belongs to this person
Looks like he's slowing down.
in some form or fashion, you have to wonder if this is some kind of domestic situation where the child was snatched or taken, and you know they're trying to get away from officers and maybe another parent. That's just talking out loud, which is, you know, appropriate to do in these kinds of circumstances.
Yeah, and it really also will see, you know, the tactics of law enforcement. They're going to be obviously much gentler with this car if they think that there is a child in the area, and I think Des is going to hit the LAX airspace here in a second, so we have trouble following this pretty soon. But again, it's a reckless driver that CHP was chasing.
Okay, Des, you know, I'm sure you heard what Mike just said, which makes this even, wow, more precarious to think that there could be a child in this vehicle and this person, as you said, is driving like a maniac.
Maniac. Wait, what? No, come back to us. Oh, they're probably flipping it to the station.
It's really horrible. No!
Oh, fuck!
Lost control, that's it!
Oh, wow!
Oh, and I hope that child is going to be okay.
Oh, my.
Out and running. 2 people out and running now.
3.
We will see if we can line up now with Firestone, but a very violent ending to this pursuit now.
Somebody went back to the car.
In Alameda, right on the edge of LAX airspace. Wow,
Des, real quick, one of them just came back into the car. If we can
let's
keep
see if
an
we
eye
can
on
see
the
the
car real
suspects.
quick.
They were running out here. Here's one person. I'm not sure if that's just someone else, but there's no.
It could just be somebody running in the street. That person running's probably the suspect.
Horrific ending here at Firestone and Alameda. Guys, I think I'm actually having some comms problems, so Pat and Mike, I got to throw it back to you for now.
Okay, you got it, Desmond. You know what, Mike?
Damn.
Okay, and who are these other people that are just kind of there?
Walking up and taking a picture of a
Now,
light.
we see them running, and I'm just really praying that no child is in this car, considering what has just happened here. And the fact you don't have any law enforcement in the area right now, or at least that has pulled up to this. The person in the other vehicle, we're not exactly sure if someone was in that car.
Wow.
How they're doing.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody get out of that car that's in the middle of the intersection there. You do see the other car. Now, we saw 3 people take off.
Did someone come back, Mike?
It kind of looked like that, but now you've got these people that are obviously very focused on the back of the car. Are they gonna, let's see what's going on here.
2 women.
Yeah, and you can see they're pointing at something. I wonder if there is something, or a child is still in that car, or what's going to be the situation here.
Yeah, because they look pretty desperate in trying to see what could possibly be in that car.
Yeah, definitely a lot of attention being given to the back of the car there. Such a violent crash, too, going through that concrete wall.
You came out with a broom.
We have not seen any law enforcement.
But you know what? If there was a child, don't you think they would be moving a little faster, Mike? I don't care what anyone says. You know that they would really be trying to get in that car and get that child.
Unless it's a corpse.
You would think the Good Samaritans would be kind of trying to dig through the back seat there to get the car out. I mean, there's definitely something back there that's catching their interest. Hopefully, it's just a piece of property or something like that, and not an actual child. What was that?
What? Was there a shot?
Is somebody in that vehicle still trying to?
Well, there was like a popping
motion. It was like a pop, or also, I don't know what it was, but it's something made the folks that were around the car just suddenly jump away.
Yeah. It looked like there was a shot.
Mike.
Okay, more is going on here that we really,
what in Jesus fuck
needs to show up really quickly. And you see, oh, there's somebody. Okay, and you see this other white car here. 2 cars were hit.
Yeah, the one in the intersection and then the minivan.
Did anyone get out of that first white car? I didn't see anyone.
The one in the intersection or the one in front of the
one in the
store?
intersection. The first car that they hit.
I haven't seen anybody get out of that car. And of course, we still have 3 suspects.
Welcome in. Thank you for being a freaking follower.
Doesn't appear anybody is chasing at this point. Well, hopefully the sheriff's helicopter still has a kind of general idea where they're at, but there's
still amazed at this
looking for them yet.
Chase that ended in a crash.
Kind of just doing traffic control here.
Okay. Mike, we want to get the exact location again here.
Bro?
We are,
real quick.
Yeah, Firestone and Ivy about.
Battle Opossum, welcome in. Since you guys are just getting here, they're probably going to replay it now.
This is really a very unfortunate situation. We have watched a pursuit ending in a terrible crash here, and I'm going to toss it up to Dez if he's back on the air with us so he can give us the exact location and what we have going on here. It's a lot.
Yeah, that was a really violent crash there, Pat. It was almost inevitable the way that maniac was driving this Infiniti sedan here.
Go it again.
Firestone.
Professor Hugh.
We saw him blow through several red lights and hit this vehicle right here, spun out.
I'm not high enough for this shit. Hold on, we're going to.
Hitting that minivan as well. Could have almost gone inside of that 7-Eleven. There was so much speed, so much power.
Here in a second, so we have trouble following this pretty soon. But again, it's a reckless driver that CHP was chasing.
So they cut away here for a second. They're having some sort of issue.
Wow, more precarious to think that there could be a child in this vehicle and this person, as you said, is driving like a maniac.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to
see, they cut away, and when we come back, keep your eyes peeled, because the wreck happens right after we come back.
It's really, really horrible. No! Lost control, that's it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, and I hope that child is going to be okay.
Oh, my.
Out and running. 2 people out and running now.
3.
We will see if we can line up now with Firestone, but a very violent ending to this pursuit now here off of Firestone Boulevard in Alameda, right on the edge of It's really, really horrible. No! Lost control, that's it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, and I hope that child is going to be okay.
Oh my.
We don't know for sure if there was a child.
3.
We will
3 people ran from the car.
But a very violent ending to this pursuit now.
We believe there was a gunshot at some point in time, possibly.
Of LAX Air.
How they're doing?
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody get out of that car that's in the middle of the intersection.
Watch as they zoom in over here.
You see the other car. Now, we saw 3 people take off.
Did someone come back, Mike?
Yeah, we feel like somebody came back.
These people that are obviously very focused on the back of the car, are they going to, let's see what's going on here.
2 women.
Yeah, and you can see they're pointing at something. I wonder if
somebody tried to call in.
Child is still in that car.
I'm sorry, like for some reason it didn't ring for me.
Here.
Yeah, because they look pretty desperate in trying to see what could possibly be in that car.
Yeah, definitely a lot of attention being given to the back of the car there. Such a violent crash, too, going through that concrete wall up against the minivan. And still, we have not seen any law enforcement.
But you know what? If there was a child, don't you think they would be moving a little faster, Mike? I don't care what anyone says. You know, that they would really be trying
here we have a cop pull up
and get that child out of there.
Yeah,
now something goes on with this vehicle.
Dig through the back seat there to get the car out. I mean, there's definitely something back there that's catching their interest. Hopefully, it's just a piece of property or something like that, and not an actual child as we...
Was that a gunshot?
Oh, yeah, it's like almost like...
Is somebody in that vehicle still trying?
And did it come from this vehicle? What in the fuck is going on with this story?
Yeah, you would think the Good Samaritans would be kind of trying to dig through the back seat there to get the car out. I mean, there's definitely something back there that's catching their interest. Hopefully, it's just a
keep your eyes
something like that, and not an actual
between the two vehicles.
What was that?
Looks like a shot that hit the minivan.
In that vehicle still trying to?
Well, there was like a popping
motion. It was like a pop, or also, I don't know what it was, but
the cops are not acting like there was a shot though.
The car just suddenly jump away.
Yeah.
Mike.
Okay, more is going on here that we really, if law enforcement certainly needs to show up.
With a tire.
You see, oh, there's somebody. Okay. And you see this other white car here? 2 cars were hit.
Yeah. Yeah, the one in the intersection and then the minivan.
Did anyone get out of that first white car? I didn't see anyone.
The one in the intersection or the one in front of the
one in the
store?
intersection. The first car that they hit.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody get out of that car. And of course, we still have 3 suspects that have...
Probably need to pack another one. I'm still stunned.
At this point. Well, hopefully the sheriff's helicopter still has a kind of general idea where they're at, but there's certainly nobody on the ground looking for them yet. You've got the one deputy kind of just doing traffic control here.
Okay. Mike, we want to get the exact location again here.
We are...
Real quick.
Yeah, Firestone and Ivy about.
Okay.
Or Firestone
we
and
want to
Ivy.
welcome our viewers right now to CBS News at 11. This is really a very situation. We have watched a pursuit ending in a terrible crash here, and I'm going to toss it up to Des if he's back on the air with us so he can give us the exact location and what we have going on here. It's a lot.
Yeah, that was a really violent crash there, Pat. It was almost inevitable.
Absolutely weed alert, but I need to pack my bong here.
Westbound on Firestone, right at Alameda. We saw him blow through several red lights and hit.
Go ahead, light one up, tip one back.
Up onto the
Lenny, have a great evening.
That minivan as well. Could have almost
light one up, tip one back.
There was so.
It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack.
The force with that collision right there, and then we saw several people get out and run. There were no units behind this suspect. The authorities were having a lot of trouble keeping up with this person because they were taking so many risks out here, going 80 miles an hour on Firestone, and incredibly, no one, I mean, at least the people that we saw get out and run, they were not injured, or maybe they were just running on adrenaline. I don't know, but they went westbound here on Firestone, and it's not even clear if the helicopter overhead had eyes on them when they all took off. And so now the question is, you know, we had heard that possibly there could have been a young child in the back of the vehicle, but we saw some Good Samaritans come up. We saw that the sheriffs come up as well. My hope here is that that was not the case and that this is clear, because we haven't seen them taking anyone out of those back seats. So hopefully that was just, you know, some false information in there. But
every one of the people that ran was underage.
In this violent collision. There was someone
who the child was
trying to wave down traffic. I don't know if it was the driver of this vehicle right here. Looked like he was holding his hand like he was in pain. I have to imagine he was. I mean, he got hit at like 70 miles an hour. Just an insane collision here. So sheriffs, they're going to have a lot to unpack with this collision, the person that is injured, and then those outstanding suspects that are all out there right now. Pat, Mike.
You know, it's interesting, Des, when you talked about the person in the intersection who was injured in that vehicle, was there anyone in this minivan?
I can get an update here.
Was it just parked maybe in front of the store?
It looked parked. It didn't look like there was anybody in there. It looked like the car came over the concrete wall. And I just want to really quickly say, you know, when Desmond we were looking at right after the crash, 3 suspects got out, but I did go back and look at the tape or the video, and 1 suspect did come back to the car and got something out of the car and then took off again. I couldn't at all tell what he grabbed or what he...
Staying with it, but it doesn't look like there's much of a pursuit anymore. Here is the update. At least one person has been arrested as of Friday evening.
For that, and we want to get back to that breaking news out of Southgate. Eliana Moreno is live in News Chopper 4, and Eliana, looks like they arrested that driver.
Annabelle, after several minutes of running around this neighborhood, the driver of that pursuit vehicle is finally in the custody of the California Highway Patrol here at the intersection of Grape Street and Firestone Boulevard. But
Apparently the driver.
how far this man had to go, because he was involved in a vehicle pursuit and crash that ended just outside of a 7-Eleven. I'm going to move the shot over there. That's going to be just off of Firestone and Alameda.
He made it pretty far.
Mike Vogue is going to slightly bring us around just a touch so you can see that crash, which again ended right outside of that 7-Eleven where it struck a parked car in addition to vehicles in the intersection. But we actually have the video of that violent crash that took place. We're going to show you what that looks like now. But again, this was a high-speed chase, 120 miles an hour at times, and he finally exited the freeway. But unfortunately, when he did, he ran a red light, was struck multiple vehicles, and eventually crashed into that van and those barriers right outside of the 7-Eleven. There were 3 people in the car, but as far as we know, just one, the driver, is in custody. That's latest here from Southgate in News Chopper 4. Annabelle.
This is in L.A.
Eliana.
Let's go back. Like that. The zoom out shot was amazing. They arrested him here.
Far this man had to go because he was involved in
He ran that fucking far.
and crash that ended just outside of a 7-Eleven. I'm going to move the shot over there. That's going to be just off of Firestone and Alameda. And my pilot, Mike Vogue, is going to slightly bring us around just a touch so you can see that crash, which again ended right outside of that 7-Eleven.
Made it pretty good ways.
Parked car. In addition.
He came back for, but he did come back to the car after he.
Battle of Boston used to run miles, so
There were 3
just for
suspects
fun.
that jumped out in total, Mike.
Yeah, there were 3 that were in total, and I don't even know. Des and the sheriff's ship is still there. Are they any eyes on them anywhere at all that you know of?
The
cops are running.
And now you see a couple of CHP officers here that are running, so maybe they do have a visual of someone right now. You can see they're trying to seal off this.
The live shot is actually the inset picture
spotlight
that I'm kind of covering up.
when they were out there running. There was just so much to keep track of with this pursuit. And I know we were all wondering, if there was a child in the back of that vehicle right now. So now they're looking at. It looks like they're trying to go into this parking garage right here, looking maybe in the trash cans and whatnot. Go ahead.
Looking in the trash
When I played the
can.
video back, that is the last place I saw that suspect that came back to the car. I didn't see him go any further than where these trash cans are, so I wonder if he's hunkered down in there.
And I was going to say, I mean, they have enough people to ask if they're willing to give up information, because we saw several people out looking when this first happened, sort of casually walking around, in fact, not really running to get out of the way. And then we saw some women come out and look in the back seat of that vehicle, pointing at something. And then all of a sudden, remember, guys, people seem to run. They seem to disperse as if
They're balls. Welcome in. Law dog.
Tire popped
Maybe
on
so.
the car, and that's what caused people to kind of take off like that.
Yeah.
A tire pop.
And hopefully there wasn't, and it doesn't seem like there was a child inside of the car.
I thought
you were talking about this.
See there?
I thought this car right here pulled up.
People on the scene would have been in more of a panic.
Or trying to cat people. But we had a shooter on top of this.
Yeah.
Because they would have pulled them out.
Local.
Looks
Some
like
LA GTA 6 shit.
this is a really big,
sheriff's deputies.
big scene right now.
And
Looking like San Andreas out here.
Well, if that little wall right there in the center of
Why
the
are you
picture,
calling
that
him Mr.
wasn't
Balls?
there, this right here, I think that
Did you name him after
clear
Mr.
into
Balls?
the 7-Eleven. It might have just gone right through that van and through that, and this could have ended up being any.
I highly encourage. I've never had a sex doll.
being
That might be shocking to some people.
But just kind of amazing, as violent as this collision is, we don't see so far any serious injuries on this. I mean, boy, modern safety system.
Vocal, I like the way you think. You're coming at it from a different angle. We always need that. I appreciate that in a chatter.
More the front of that vehicle, that could have been very, very severe. Just totally.
I believe the 7-Eleven was an innocent bystander.
With the lights out. A lot of officers now. You've got
And
the
there's-
fire department, LA County Fire out here now as well.
Oh, she probably will.
No eyes on those 3 suspects.
Bro, absolutely. She would
Notice
totally
that,
take that baby
Gurney
in.
there, Des. Isn't that?
You're gonna say, I have too many
You
kitties.
wonder, as you say, I haven't seen anybody exit either, any of those vehicles, to be honest with you. But we see that it's out and ready to load someone if need be, I guess.
And it's a lot of danger also for folks inside the store if this car would have kept going. But
All right, I think we got all we were gonna get out of this one. I was gonna call it a night early, but there's a lot of you here, so like I'm a man of the people. Here's a yellow Mustang. This one also happening in LA. I don't think we watched this one.
The MO right now is just trying to get away here, but
I feel like I would have remembered a yellow Mustang.
farther down the 405, we do expect that there's.
This was like a week and some change ago.
Absolutely. I'm looking ahead, share through our front windshield here. It looks like he's going to be good until about sunset, so he does have some more room here to maneuver, but it's getting a little bit heavy. You see how he's coming up on traffic there behind the Tesla now in that carpool lane. So
fuck that Tesla.
Away for sure. Looking back, though, let's see if that's going to give some time for either the CHP or the Sheriff's Department to pick up the chase once again.
Hello, Possum, curious or hates Randy Newman.
We are hearing word that LAPD is notified.
She has made that very known to me.
We'll see.
And recently, too.
Let's get involved. I doubt it at this point on the freeway.
Like a couple of times recently.
Streets will definitely see LAPD assisting at least.
This would be all CHP if there's a handoff. Again, Ventura County.
He was singing the song.
And will remain so at their discretion. If they request CHP help, CHP.
He was doing the lyrics to Randy Newman's song in the chat.
Sort of a move, and
I didn't just bring him up like.
But as it stands,
for no reason.
In the air by Ventura County Sheriff's Department, Black Hawk helicopter and black and whites on the ground.
What was it? We watched The Naked Gun, and I think Randy Newman was in it. Was that it?
That means it's just a matter.
And then he was on the Saturday Night Live we watched the other day.
Clearly, what he wants to do in a high-performance car like this, which is run at a high speed, there will be a challenge sooner rather than later.
That's correct, Micah. You know, the Black Hawk has pulled off the pursuit.
She doesn't like Randy Newman, and she doesn't like dinosaurs.
Over this CHP, I hear them talking about it.
Both of which were shocking to me.
We're coming into the west side now, and traffic's still moving pretty good. I'm pretty surprised. It actually,
especially dinosaurs, because she absolutely loves Jim Henson.
I'm actually very surprised right now that I'm looking at the 405 at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday, no less. And
damn, I love it. I love it. This dude's gonna be reckless.
It's quite odd to see him getting so much speed at this hour, but he is, and he's making some moves and getting farther away from the black and whites on the ground. But again, like you mentioned, even though the black from Ventura County,
yeah, we watched dinosaurs,
has backed off and been replaced by the LAPD airship, we do have authorities overhead tracking this vehicle and its every move as it makes its way down the 405 and here in Los Angeles.
I feel like this is one of the special editions.
County. So you know, this person and the person inside
just have like a
the
fucking
person
grill
inside the
cover.
vehicle is an accomplice.
Has a car bra
that he may be running from, or if it's somebody.
Yeah, it's just got a car bra on it. It ain't anything special.
Inside this car other than the driver, and we don't know if it's just one passenger or
probably not the best idea to
there's
run from the cops in a yellow Mustang.
Put into all of this as the chase continues here.
Pretty recognizable, hard to fit in.
See the black and whites directly behind this Mustang, probably for safety reasons as well, trying to hang back, since the airship, the LAPD airship has eyes over it, and obviously so do we.
Yes, absolutely.
Got eyes on him.
For everyone involved, for those units to stay back and let the airship track it. But we'll see eventually if this vehicle gets off the freeway, what will happen, how that will change. If it does get off in the LAPD's area or other areas further south. But Still on the 405 freeway now.
He gets off. We've seen a suspect jack off in the vehicle.
And he's using that center divider to pass all the vehicles there. But still moving at a good clip.
So there you go. Even in heavy traffic, the driver finding the way to keep it moving. Now, not at 100 miles an hour. But
yeah, it's got a carb bra on.
Keep it moving. 40, 50 miles an hour on the shoulder of the freeway. Could spell
like your basic ass 40 grand Mustang.
Its way onto the shoulder of the freeway that can cause problems for the tires on a car like
that. Oh, something popped off.
Something right there. But not really much of an option here with all the lanes clogged for this driver. Now, obviously you don't want to be on the shoulder.
Getting into traffic, you can't blend in, dude.
There's a lot of debris on the shoulder, but the driver is going to deal with a situation here at the 405-10 split and nasty traffic as we've been anticipating. But
DJ Dub, that's a Mustang.
Lower than what we have seen. It was north of 100 miles an hour just a few moments ago. The safety factor in this changes. The dynamics of it change. And again, with LAPD overhead, the driver's not going to be able to outrun the chopper in a situation like this. Again, CHP not yet involved as far as we can tell. Ventura County Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, because it says in the title.
Originating out of Ventura County. The want was assault with a
vehicle. It is totally Mustang. Wait till they zoom in on it.
Are unknown.
The Mustang with a carb bra on it.
But it's potentially a very dangerous situation with a driver that's inclined to go more than 100 miles an hour if given the chance, Gil.
Yes, absolutely.
Basically enough, I just had to buy a Nismo.
Maybe you can see it better yourself on your monitors.
Gran Turismo.
At least on the driver's side, it doesn't look like there's any front end or even rear end damage, at least from this perspective. But we're trying to get a closer look into the vehicle here. Let me pop this lens in here and come in a little tighter to see if you can maybe see through the front windshield. A little hard to see with the sun kind of in our eyes here, but he's moving all the way across lanes. A little difficult to see that, but here we go, all the way from the center divider to the shoulder now, and it's going to continue coming up on the 10 freeway here. And it looks like he's going to stay committed, at least for now, to that 405 south. No, actually, let's see. Here's a gore point, and now he's going to stay into the 405 committed southbound.
Wow, interesting choice considering he's trying to get away, but there he is on the shoulder again. And making his way through. When you were zooming into the, to the windshield there, you could see that there was.
DJ Dub, did I tell you good evening?
In the front passenger seat, but it was not that clear because of the sun, like you were saying. So, and some reflection. So we were able to see a little bit inside. So there are two people here. As far as what's happening in the back seat, who knows? As you can tell, all of the windows are blacked out and tinted. And now we're
jump out
under this point here.
Grab another car.
And we'll see him pop out.
Gay style. That's the only way you're going to get away.
Nowhere else to
go.
There
you go.
Yeah, no, you have to believe this driver may well have a destination in mind. Given that opportunity available to the driver there at the 10 freeway, did not take it, decided to stay on a very congested 405. It makes you believe that the driver has a destination in mind. Can't say for sure, but based on that, if you're trying to run and you got open road and you pass it up for this, it might give you a little insight into the motivations of this driver. As the Ventura County Sheriff's Department is still behind it. Gil, any word on potential CHP takeover?
I'm monitoring CHP, trying to pick up what they're saying. They're giving the location for sure where the vehicle
is. Chase into
the
crash.
Indicates that they're trying to get units into position, notifying their units in this area. So we'll see if they are able to pop in here. The problem is it's just completely bumper-to-bumper traffic right now, as you can see, but we'll see what happens in the next few minutes. One concern for us, unfortunately, is the.
But there's so much fun,
the weather
Michael.
that's moving in here. We got the low clouds and fog rolling in, and
glad that happened with enough frequency that I always have fresh chases.
In a few miles, we may have an issue with that. In the meantime, this vehicle is heading towards the LAX area, and a lot of times we'll see vehicles. That
I did like 2 hours of fucking news
because of the amount of
Maybe
vehicles there,
more.
and they feel maybe they can get away. But
I delivered on the Troll
that's
Patrol promise. It was
completely
just at
unknown
a different time.
Right. You know, so we just watch and
Earlier
see
than
what his
usual.
next move will be, and there he is, back on the shoulder, able to get some ground and some speed now, making his way. As you know, it's interesting to
Absolutely.
like what you said, Micah,
You
that
can
he
get
did
away from the
take
law in the
that,
mountains. Oh shit!
Opportunity to take the 10 freeway where there was more open road, but preferred to stay here on the 405 and. You know, to go through all of this traffic. None of these people at all know what's going on, that this particular car is being followed right now in the air by police and media, wanted for several things, including assault and obviously felony evade and failure to stop, failure to yield.
Assault.
And the list will go on. So
Who did they assault?
you know, unbeknownst to them, he's making his way here on the shoulder, and they just think, okay, he's trying to get ahead. But more than anything, he's trying to get away.
Absolutely. We're approaching the 90 Marina Freeway, and we'll see what direction the vehicle goes. But until then, he's having pretty good luck here on the shoulder, getting by all the traffic here so far. Yeah,
Fuzzy Simba.
we're coming up to that Marina Freeway now. The driver will have the option to
Kid of Simba.
or continue.
Good evening.
But then from there, it's going to be LAX within a few miles, of course, and even heavier traffic as I look ahead. Yeah, we are shooting through some of that marine layer that's rolling in, and but at this point, it looks like the driver here is determined maybe to stay on that 405. He's getting into that gore point, and we'll try to keep an eye on this car as much as we can here through the low clouds. But yeah, it looks like he's heading now through the 90 Marina Freeway.
All right, committed through the 90 Marina Freeway. Again, primarily utilizing gore points and shoulders here to work through this backup along the 405 as to be expected, and our visibility clearly becoming an issue for us in the helicopter trying to follow. The fact that it's a yellow car helps to a degree, but as the marine layer moves in and continues to build, obviously our situations have become that much more challenging and in pockets as well. You see, it looks like he might be, can't even say, but
I mean, it looks like he is on the side, like on the embankment.
Or trying to get off the freeway, or
just about.
Wow,
All
look
right,
at that.
so,
There is it.
We're all just trying to get off.
Back in view and on the
Any
gore
open
point.
ground this driver's using.
Yeah. Gil, a question
sure.
for you regarding this weather. What do you see immediately in front of you? Do you sense that it may get worse or begin to clear? What's the story?
Actually, it's actually going to improve the further south the vehicle goes here. We're going to have a couple of clouds coming in the shot just about now, and then it opens up. So it's kind of broken marine layer that's rolling in here. In fact, the bigger problem we have now is going to be the LAX airspace that we're going to have to try to get around. Usually they have us go directly over the airport. If it continues past the airport and past the 105 freeway, we'll have to break away for a little bit to get over that airspace. But for now, in fact, in the next couple miles, we still have some room here, but my pilot is just now asking for permission to cross that airspace.
Missing across the airspace.
On the situation on the ground there when it comes to Ventura County Sheriffs and where they are, and then also what the story is with the LAPD or CHP?
What happened? Who's seeing themselves out? No,
Yeah,
don't
the
leave
LAPD
media with.
ship's
What
still
happened?
Overhead. Here he goes. He might be exiting. This will be the first here for us.
I have no idea because I was worried.
It looks like
apparently my phone doesn't ring anymore, so I was trying to fix it to where I have visualization of if the phone is ringing up here.
And we'll see
I
what
don't like missing out on calls. Calls are fun.
So towards the ocean. We'll see which way the driver goes. I'm listening to, the LAPD is definitely monitoring this, keeping kind of quiet on their radios for now, but it sounds like they may try to engage, or now that it's off on surface streets, this might be LAPD that could pick up the chase.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, they've been following in the air.
You know why you can't not make sex jokes?
The situation as it's
You live
unfolding
in sexual
now, clearly
anarchy.
in their jurisdiction on surface streets, really, highly likely that
off the freeway
they'll
now
get involved here if Ventura County again.
Still getting up to 80? No way.
I mean, they're following this.
40 sounds more
County,
right.
you know, into the LAX.
Or apropos.
Obviously, this isn't a driver.
Right.
They're content with
Listen to me.
letting get away because they know where he or she
Pimp, good
lives
evening.
and can follow up later. Oftentimes, we'll see that, but for them to continue to track this,
We came on early because of the
deep into
possible third assassination attempt of Trump.
May tell you
which
something.
I kind of think was an assassination attempt this time.
Custody and quickly. So to see LAP get
But if it was a right winger.
At this point, but again, tracking continues only from the air. Gil, do you have an eye on?
The dude has a lot of media presence.
Yeah,
Yes,
wider, we don't want to lose him.
They're saying they have thwarted another one. However, the dude is a sovereign citizen.
CHP might stay in this and try to.
He just took a loaded gun. There's several loaded guns.
Involved at this point on the ground or on
to a Trump rally
on the freeway due to the traffic. But one problem we're having here is that he's southbound on Airport Boulevard, heading right towards LAX. And
seemed to be a Trump fan from his social media. He has been photographed with James O'Keefe, Vivek, Don Jr.
Well.
I mean, he's heading to Horseshoe at this point, you know.
QAnon
shaman. To the airport. And,
like it was like a who's who of.
I mean, you wonder what he's going to do.
Right-wing nut job world.
Is he going to foot bail in a parking garage?
He has his own
with pursuits
podcast
in the last
and
several months, even in
streaming
recent years,
show.
where drivers will go beneath an overpass or into a parking garage and foot bail that way. Hard to say, obviously, but you see the level of danger. And
I don't think it was
surface streets with this level of desperation, Gil.
Left turn.
I don't think it was an assassination attempt.
Yeah, definitely.
And Jordan Peterson, yeah, there's a picture of him with Jordan Peterson.
Westbound here, this is Century Boulevard.
Hey, did I tell you good evening?
For us, because we are
don't remember
across the airport runway.
That was hours ago. Like you've been here for a while.
405 freeway, and then if he gets to the 405 and takes it north, we're gonna have to do that crossover all again. But we'll stay on it as long as we can here and try to keep the shot. Heavy traffic
he is stuck.
Nowhere to go, but that's a good opportunity for us to look behind him. There is one LAPD, or one, let's see what that is, CHP. So there's.
He has a pick. He has a pick with RFK Jr.
They're not too far from the vehicle now, and it looks like they're going to engage here shortly.
Yeah, so we have a motorcycle officer. I did not see a black and white or a
He's got nowhere to go.
There he is. Okay, that's.
But who knows? We got at least two pigs pulling up.
That is California Highway Patrol.
Yeah.
And the CHP, or the motorcycle,
Yeah. So you got CHP. I mean, everybody's locked in on this. It's just a matter of getting in position, and you see all of these civilians.
He's already out on bond, is what's great. He issued a
statement.
I couldn't find it.
If you're law enforcement, except there.
Oh my God, he's taking off. He's taking off. Oh shit.
And they gain some space here.
I thought he was fucked.
But there you go. You see the driver now clearly aware that law enforcement is behind him, and he begins to speed up considerably.
He's jamming.
Yeah.
He's jamming.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
This driver obviously
right
desperate to get away, and you have to believe that the ground units really need to be.
If you're going to drive Mustang.
Non-motor officers in a situation like this, it's heart-stopping to watch it. This driver. Desperate, clearly, and law enforcement clearly highly interested in getting this person in custody.
Energy flow.
Yeah, someone on a bike. This is a recipe.
That was the first thing I pointed out. Don't run from the cops in a yellow car.
And more than just the
go that way.
Units.
Especially cops that have a helicopter.
Officer and then one
news station has a helicopter. Like surely they know you live in L.A.
Is wanted for assault.
Southbound
and so we're getting bits and pieces.
You know these things are
what's really at stake here and what's
on
happening.
camera, right? You know
again,
all these chases are on
is
camera.
wanted.
If I know it, someone that lives in LA knows it.
You know, obviously the list of charges that are starting to rack up here for this driver and possibly the person that is his accomplice that's sitting in the passenger.
Do we have somebody in the passenger seat? Oh shit! I do see another hand.
You know, could also be facing some jail time. You know. You would sometimes see at this point if you know the passengers had enough, they usually foot bail. And then the driver keeps on going, trying to.
White Camry gonna blend in because like there's a white Camry, right? There's like that common.
And really, oh my
look
gosh!
at that.
Oh shit! Almost had contact, or maybe did have contact.
A little fishtail there.
And a fishtail.
Yeah, and a fishtail.
I would say like you know,
a desperate
like a
situation.
Hunter Green car.
That is
blue
becoming
car,
increasingly dangerous for the longer
inconspicuous.
this remains on surface streets like this. You know, it was almost a sigh of relief to see this moving at 30, 40 miles an hour on the freeway.
No, stick your nose in there.
Albeit on the shoulder, but
backing up.
It's far less dangerous than what we're looking at here. In sort of a panic mode, doing everything the driver can to get away.
Where you gonna go to, bro?
Holding back here as they're in the turn pocket, Gil. I wonder what the strategy may be.
Well, what happened there, Mike?
I don't think he has a strategy.
Parking lot and went the wrong direction on the road. That motor officer and the other unit from CHP pulled off of it due to the danger of that. They had to go head on with vehicles, so they were stuck there. They didn't want to endanger any innocent drivers.
Camry or an Accord.
So they've
two incredibly common vehicles.
Step back, but the airship has eyes on him. He's in this traffic.
Basically invisible.
Up here momentarily.
Yeah, a little defensive driving on their part, you know, just trying to, you know, make sure that everybody's safe.
Get more tips
as they do, you know.
on the patrol.
And these chases, as we know, are so dangerous.
Where's the fuzz at?
Especially when they are high speed. But now we've got CHP.
Why'd they get out?
Just a little bit.
Why didn't you pull up on him and block him in?
The CHP.
Never underestimate the stupidity of the fucking cops.
Made a traffic break there behind the vehicle. The CHP.
What are they doing?
Himself, he's getting out. Not sure why. But the motor.
He's getting back. You fucking stupid fuck. Fucking fuck. Stupid fucks. But I'm glad the cops are stupid.
And continue. But here's the problem. Here's
Chase gets to continue.
You know, get through that traffic.
Right.
Here's the 105 freeway. And he's going to continue south, and he's going to jump on the freeway, eastbound 105 freeway at this point.
Which is, you know, it's better, frankly, for everyone involved if this is on a freeway, you know, especially when you got a little bit of traffic. The speeds won't be outrageous. You don't have the cross traffic. There were pedestrians. You got people.
He's going back up. He's on the access lane still, right?
In front of the car. I mean, it's just so dangerous. So to see it here is a little bit of relief from my perspective as we watch this. Obviously, this is a very dangerous suspect that law enforcement is desperate to bring into custody. We have seen this is coming again all the way from Ventura.
Are they dangerous?
So law enforcement here in the Los Angeles area, CHP, the LAPD engaged there on surface streets for moments. They've been in the air tracking this as well, relieving Ventura County Sheriff's Department's airship. So they've got eyes on it in the air again.
I guess it's just that long of a merge lane.
On the 105 eastbound.
Whoop.
This dangerous situation. This driver, yeah.
Oh, I love it.
And how does it look ahead, Gil?
Let's do it.
Yeah, it's jammed. Well, it's moving. It's heavy traffic for sure. It's moving maybe 15, 20 miles an hour up ahead towards the 110 freeway. It looks a little heavier. And then beyond that, it's really going to get heavy. So if he stays on the 105, but he has the 110 option to go north or south. We'll see if that happens. But right now, using any
heavy, you keep using that word.
My gosh,
CHP,
can you
something wrong with the Earth's gravitational pull in the future?
On the fast lane and in the carpool lane, and this guy is going.
Said we were hot and heavy.
Past them on the side. I mean, you know, it's got to be startling.
Yep, and it looks like he just moved over. It might be exiting. Actually, let's see. We're going to see the interchange here. The 110. He's got the Gore Point. Left is north and right is south, and he's going to go south 110. I'm sorry, south 110 from the 105, and that
left is Gore.
Unit was staying right with him. He's back a little ways here. The motor officer there as well is with them, but he's going southbound 110 now.
All right, southbound 110 from eastbound 105. A good deal of time on the freeway, obviously coming out of Ventura County, if you've been following this with us, all the way from Ventura County on the 101 to the 405 southbound, running into a whole lot of traffic right about Wilshire, going past the 10 freeway, remaining with the traffic on the 405 when there was an option on the 10 freeway to be wide open and run like this driver wanted to do, been north of 100 miles an hour at points.
Carpool lane, right?
The LAX area. Now the 105 eastbound to the 110 southbound, and the chase continues. This was Ventura County Sheriff's Department. The want is assault with a vehicle. We don't have any further details on the circumstances surrounding the crime for which this suspect is being chased. We do know Ventura County has yielded since to CHP here in the LA Basin. So this driver moving and being pursued on the ground by CHP, very dangerous for a stretch on surface streets with a CHP motor officer.
Very, very dangerous.
Driver. And you see the reckless nature of the behavior. Maybe I'm going to get off the freeway, maybe I'm not. We've seen more than one fishtail. Obviously a high-performance vehicle, so you know this driver can ask essentially whatever they want from this car, and it's going to give it to them. Obviously,
edging whether he's going to get off or not.
With their souped-up vehicles to stay with this, you know. But obviously, the higher the speeds, the greater the danger, the greater the desperation, the greater the danger. And look at this driving. Now getting off the freeway. Where are we, Gil?
Well, let's see here. Well, look at that.
Oh my God, yes.
Definitely doing some damage there. It looks like he's really just going right between lanes.
Poor people.
Wow, and look at this. Who's behind him? So they're not giving up. The CHP's not letting go of this. They might try a pit maneuver here. Let's see. Might be jumping back on the freeway. Let's see if they try to do it. It's a little bit fast.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I can't believe the cops got back up on him that fast.
So just a little too fast for the pit there. Too dangerous situation.
Is this vehicle damaged in some way? It is. It looks to be.
Yeah, it looks like it is.
Yeah, something's caught on the
there you go.
Yeah, it looks like it is.
Something finally, nature's.
Is that a spike strip?
Oh, gosh.
Did they get him?
It looks like he's going to have to stop at one point. I mean, there's no way.
No, it's caught in the wheel well. It's a matter of
Is it the wheel?
moments here.
Did it?
No, is that an actual spike strip? Hard to say.
Some debris.
But at any rate, the vehicle's.
I thought it was at.
Yeah,
I thought it was
ahead.
at first.
Look at this.
Oh yeah, it might be.
No, I thought it was a spike strip at first, but let's see.
Look at that.
The tire is shredded.
Fail.
And it's over. Do the smart thing and end it.
Oh, come on! After all that.
Yeah, well, they realized
it is the smart thing.
New York minute. That went from 100 to 0 very, very quickly. Yeah. Very dangerous and a relief for law enforcement, to be sure, for the motoring public as they work to clear the suspect vehicle, and a very dangerous situation that could have been so much worse, and so fortunate for everyone in the vicinity that this ended the way it did.
Yeah, what a relief, Gil. You know, two.
I want more action
here. Wanted for the vehicle, wanted for assault. They finally got them, and it came a long way, all the way from Ventura County to end right here on South Vermont Avenue, off of is this off the 91 or the 110 southbound?
Yeah, up the 91 for sure, and got into that traffic, the tire coming apart. And Micah, you know what, you called it, I think it was debris that did a spike strip on this vehicle.
Wow, debris did him in.
Some debris that they hit.
Yeah, you don't want to spend time on the shoulder of the freeway.
That rear tire.
You just don't. Exhibit A there, the suspects in custody where they belong after a scenario like that. Gil, thanks.
It was pretty mellow. The wind picked up for a little bit.
This dude.
Me around. At one point last night, I was getting bashed up against this wall. So I went out and I cut my anchor line to get away from it. So I have a $250 anchor sitting down there that I got to go in.
Anchor.
Dan, you weren't afraid at all last night?
No, I'm not scared of anything. What I've been through, this weather is nothing. And I put my faith in God. God told me to come here. God told me 5 years ago I was in Colorado. He put on my heart, Tampa, Florida, and get a boat.
Fuck off, dude.
I woke up one morning with that on my heart, and that's all I could think.
You and your God shit.
I left Colorado. I went to North Carolina. Left North Carolina. Came to Florida. I've been in Florida for 5 years. Stuck on the East Coast. Never came over. In March, I came over. I found this boat for $1,200. I bought it. I come to Tampa, and guess what? Camp floods. Not today, not yesterday, but during the last one, Helena.
God's not dead. He's surely alive.
I mean, they were calling for a Cat 5. I didn't know what to expect. But what happened last night was nothing compared to Helena.
So you think if another storm rolls through Tampa, you're going to remain on your boat?
Yeah, I'd remain on the boat no matter what.
You gotta admire his dedication. I'm not done yet. I'm gonna find us another. Still going. Watched this one already. 2 weeks ago. Never know. I don't think so. This doesn't. I got so many chases.
Yeah, yep.
But also, I don't know because.
Do you have the make and model by chance?
I have the lights on. Maybe a red vehicle. Happened about 2 weeks ago. I was hanging out the window. Don't see it. Love it when they're hanging out the window. We saw one of those the other night.
Welcome everybody as you join us live on ABC7.com and our 24/7 streaming channels. Chris Christie up in Air 7 over a pursuit coming out of Long Beach now, northbound side of the 710 freeway. You can see a number of CHP units behind the suspect, believed to be a possible Nissan Altima or possibly a Maxima, an older model vehicle. You can see somebody actually hanging out the window a short time ago. These are wanted carjacking suspects who are on the run here. This started in the area around LAX near the 105 freeway, and a short time ago ended up getting off of the 710, now back onto the 710, and now once again exiting the freeway here at Del Amo Boulevard. CHP taking this pursuit over from the LA County Sheriff's Department just a short time ago with a number of units now in pursuit. They have declined the opportunity for a pit maneuver because the suspects in this vehicle are believed to be armed, and that has played into their decision-making here now on Del Amo Boulevard as they continue eastbound here. Unclear where that carjacking took place, however, it is a possibility that they may be running low on gas here, so just based on some of the chatter we've been hearing, apparently this vehicle's been on the move for some time.
How would they know?
With the amount of gas that was in there, they appear to be on borrowed time. At least that's what CHP is working with. You can see them continuing through this residential section here of North Long Beach, setting up for a left turn. A left turn, that's going to be Long Beach Boulevard. A left turn northbound onto Long Beach Boulevard. We've got at least a passenger in the car with that driver.
What are they doing? Do they have their phone up? Trying to holler at me.
Long Beach Boulevard at a moderate rate of speed here. They were going pretty fast earlier. Now doing right around the speed limit here on Long Beach Boulevard, even stopping for, well, going through the intersection here. That's actually a green light they had. Continuing through. CHP with at least 3 units. Robbie, if you could widen out just a second, I want to get it. Looks like 1, 2, 3. Was there a spike there? I'm sorry. They might have had a spike there already. All right, they're reporting a good spike attempt there, right there.
Good spike attempt.
Intersection. There was a, I believe, a CHP officer waiting with the spike strip and was able to lay one down right in front of that vehicle. As you notice, it's blacked out, no headlights, no taillights. There are 3 CHP units behind him, and we're going to start to see him slow down yet again here as he begins to lose air in those front tires. Again, they just laid down what they think is a successful spike strip, now setting up to enter the freeway once again.
Get on that freeway.
Once again on the northbound side of the 710 freeway, right back here in North Long Beach.
I love police chases. What a wondrous time we live in.
Looking for any change in behavior of this vehicle, paying really close attention to those front tires as they start to bleed off air as a result of that spike strip. If it was indeed successful, we're going to start to see this vehicle
Out the
drive
window again.
a bit differently. You can see the passenger there with his full torso out of the passenger window, flashing gang signs back at those officers.
Watched this one the other day. How do we know that it's gang signs? So many chases, and my memory is not exactly the best.
There's a little smoke.
Officers flashing their own gang signs back. Ah! Are they smoking up? Or are they token as they're
Axle there, you can see he's starting to slow down.
driving down the road?
Veering off to the right, approaching the shoulder here. We'll see if he comes to a stop.
I don't remember what happens.
Crawling onto the shoulder of the 710 freeway, northbound 710. Doing about 25 miles per hour as he either prepares to exit the freeway here or just runs out of steam altogether. Fortunately, if it comes to a stop here, there's really nowhere for him to run. He, of course, could
yeah, that's
run
a flat
off the freeway
tire.
there, but they are prepared. They are prepared. I'm sorry, let me shut this off. They are prepared for a felony stop here. You can see that front left tire starting to wobble. The passenger setting up to bail. There he goes. He's off into the bushes. 2 passengers, or maybe the driver and the passenger. The vehicle keeps rolling northbound. The suspect's now in the trees there.
Yeah, I remember this now.
Parallel with the freeway in an industrial section.
He runs back up and gets caught.
Boulevard, northbound side of the 710 freeway. You can see all those containers here that they are kind of sandwiched.
I mean, where to go?
The freeway and those containers in those trees. There are officers now in those bushes, now pointing their flashlights through there. You can see the night sun from the helicopter looking for any body heat coming from those trees, but they are going to start to surround this area. They've already put the call out for a canine unit, and there's another one. There's one of the suspects now running across the median onto the freeway.
He had nowhere to go.
Again, these are wanted carjacking suspects running back towards the freeway. Here he is. He's done. He is done. That is the suspect being taken into custody, now proned out, hands behind his back. That is one suspect in custody. Now the other suspect, possibly the driver, we'll see if they can track him down here somewhere along the right side of the freeway. Still walking in the bushes, still walking in the bushes. Suspect walking through those trees right there.
I don't remember if we ever found out. I don't think we found out if they got him. Sure they did. They just had to fish him out of whatever tree he ran up.
This
Fuck you, Cuomo.
There was an aspect of the story that got me that I haven't shown you with, so I haven't told you yet. So I want to bring in Sarah and Rick right now. Sarah, Rick, thank you very much. I'm glad you're safe. I'm glad all your fur and
got a donkey
are safe. And there he is. This is the guy that I wanted to see. So this is the donkey named Cash. Right?
Well, hold on. Do we need a recap?
Why? First of all, it's great to meet you. I'm glad you're okay. Why is he called?
Before we get out of here, there are like a lot of people that weren't here for the beginning of the stream. By the not 9 Inch Nails logo. So yeah, we've had the cops are saying there's a third assassination attempt on Trump. Back to the sheriff. What? You'll hear what? It's a sovereign citizen, and it seemed like he might be a Trump supporter.
Talking about a man with guns and fake press badges found at Trump's campaign stop on Friday or Saturday. Let's listen.
Keep in mind that the information that I'm going to give you may not be all of the information that I have, but because of what we're doing and because of the investigation that will obviously continue concerning this, there are some things that I cannot give you or that I will not give you, but I will do everything I can to answer your questions. So to begin with, yesterday afternoon, before former President Trump arrived to the rally, we made contact with an individual on the inner perimeter of our operation at the rally. As you can imagine, this was a very large event. In regard to previous attempts on the former president's life, this was not something that we were taking lightly. We had a very detailed plan in place on how we were going to keep not only the former president safe, but all of the participants or the attendees of the rally safe. So in general terms, I will tell you that we had a larger outside perimeter and then an inside perimeter that was completely controlled by us, by Riverside County Sheriff's deputies, and both of them served different purposes. We did not keep residents from their home arrest credentials. Those vehicles were allowed in. There were no other vehicles allowed. So that outside perimeter are the, I will give you
get to the juicy
name
stuff
that we have, and I'm going to put an asterisk by it as I explain this later. But we have his name as Vem, V-E-M, Miller, M-I-L-L-E-R, and his birthday is 10/26 of 1974. And the reason why I gave it to you like that is I will explain later. He approached the outside perimeter, gave all indications that he belonged there, that he was that he was a participant that was allowed to get into VIP and to and a press corps, and so he was allowed through that outer perimeter. As he got to the inside perimeter, where deputies were conducting obviously a more thorough evaluation of the vehicles that were coming in, there were many irregularities that popped up. The deputy noticed that the interior of the vehicle was in quite disarray. The vehicle had an obviously fake license plate, and that prompted further investigation from our deputy into why the person was there and what he was doing. During that investigation, the deputy eventually found multiple passports with multiple names, multiple driver's license with different names. The vehicle was unregistered, and the license plate was what we in law enforcement would recognize as one that is homemade and indicative of a group of individuals that claim to be sovereign citizens. And assuming the deputy assumes that he would. I
don't think it was an assassination attempt.
Identifying group. So
here's the thing: is he had? I would assume he had real media credentials. This is him, Vem Miller, arrested at Coachella with 2 firearms in his car.
So one thing I don't get is that
everything at this convention, at the Republican National Convention, is cashless. This whole place is cashless. So, I don't know. See, that's the Republican National Convention behind me. Wonderful people, wonderful time. Just not happy that it's all cashless.
Junior.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Tim Miller is a registered Republican who tried to present fake VIP credentials to a Trump rally on Saturday. The 49-year-old Las Vegas resident describes himself on LinkedIn as an investigative journalist. He has a podcast. We've seen him with Jordan Peterson, James O'Keefe, Vivek. Miller was stopped at a checkpoint, and we know all that. The cop said all that. Through his work as a content producer, Miller says he learned a lot about politics and how the world of politics is run, often to the detriment of we the people. Here he is with the QAnon shaman. Ran for a position as assemblyman in Nevada in 2022. And did not have an impact on the safety of the former president or attendees of the rally. There he is with RFK. That's all I got. That's all you got. Vivek, Jordan Peterson, James O'Keefe, a who's who of right-wing nonsense. Dude's totally not a Democrat. I don't know that it was an assassination attempt. He has been released on bail already. I would assume the feds are talking to him or have him detained after the local rhymes with fake indeed. After the local police let him go. I mean, like, he was just arrested on weapons charges or some shit. A bill. Back to this donkey.
Their TikTok account went from like 120,000 to almost 600,000. This resonated, and there was an aspect of the story that got me that I haven't showed you with. So I haven't told you yet. So I want to bring in Sarah and Rick right now.
Weird
Sarah,
logo.
Rick, thank you very much. I'm glad you're safe. I'm glad all your fur and feather fam are safe. And there he is. This is the guy that I wanted to see. So this is the donkey named Cash, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Here he
Why?
is.
First of all, it's great to meet you. I'm glad you're okay. Why is he called Cash, by the way?
So it's not because of money. When Cash was born, he was totally black all the way around. And my husband loved Johnny Cash, and Johnny Cash wore all black. So he came up with the name, and it's been perfect. It suits him really well. It works.
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys were living the Ring of Fire thing in a very different way than Johnny Cash would have ever expected it with what you had to brave. So Cash is not new to your bedroom. I thought when I first heard the story, wow, it's amazing. They brought the donkey inside to keep it safe. But no, Rick, you share the bedroom with a lot of the fur fam, but including the donkey on a regular basis.
Yeah, we do. We make it work.
So I see him on the floor. He doesn't try to get in the bed, does he?
No. No, I would love him in the bed, but his little hooves would be unstable, and he doesn't like it. So he's been in our bedroom since he was born about 8 months ago.
So I hear, Sarah, that Cash had anxiety last night, so you wanted to make sure that he stayed close. How do you know when a donkey has anxiety?
We know this little guy very well. Normally at night, he comes in, he knows the bedtime routine, he goes to bed. Last night, he'd lie down for maybe 10 minutes, and then he was up, and he was going between Rick and me, and Rick and me, and going back and forth, and just pacing, and lying down, and pacing, and it's so unusual for his behavior. I mean, he's normally very calm at night. He knows if he can go be calm, he sleeps with us, but last night he was just all over the place.
So you have, I want to get it straight, and I want to make sure all are accounted for. 10 donkeys, 9 cows, 4 goats, 100 chickens, 6 dogs, 4 ducks. Everybody's okay.
The form.
Everybody's okay. We lost one.
E-I-E-I-O.
He had a heart attack, but every single animal was okay today after such a crazy night.
Well, listen, how did you make sense of how much people connected to Our Simple Homestead on TikTok, and not just the views, but the concerns? What does it mean to you, Sarah?
You know, people have been following Cash since his birth, and it's been amazing. But before the storm, I just shared my honest feelings of how scared I was to let these animals be out. And people resonated with it. And suddenly we were getting messages from all over the world, thousands and thousands of messages last night from all over the world, people praying for us, sending love, doing prayer chains, having their church pray. And it was...
Oh, fuck your prayers.
It was so incredibly comforting. And, you know, we were so scared and so full of anxiety, but hearing all these people just pouring their hearts out to us that don't even know us, it was just absolutely the most comforting thing in the world. And I truly believed it helped protect us last night. It really did.
Rick, how worried were you that you were going to have a mass event to have to explain and deal with today?
Oh, God, Chris, let me tell you. It's
mass event?
It's like, it's almost like getting ready for a fight that you know you may lose, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know?
With a lot of the fur fam, but
mass event
on a regular basis.
Yeah, we do. We make it work.
So I see him on the floor. He doesn't try to get in the bed, does he?
No. No, I would love him in the bed, but his little hooves would be unstable, and he doesn't like it. So he's been in our bedroom since he was born, about 8
cuddle
months
the
ago.
donkey.
So
looks
I hear, Sarah,
like a big dog.
Cash had anxiety last night, so you wanted to make sure that he stayed close. How do you know when a donkey has anxiety?
We know this little guy very well. Normally at night, he comes in, he knows the bedtime routine, he goes to bed.
Is this Chris Cuomo, right?
He'd lie down for maybe 10
Andrew
minutes,
was
and then
the
he was up, and he
Andrew's
was
the
going
politician.
between Rick and me, and Rick and me.
He's gonna try to be a politician
and
again.
just pacing and lying down and pacing, and it's so unusual for his behavior. I mean, he's normally very calm at night. He knows
I thought we were done with both the motherfuckers that both came
Last
back.
night, he was just all over the place.
Fuck you, News Nation, for hiring.
You have, I want to get it straight. I want to make sure all are accounted for. 10 donkeys, 9 cows, 4 goats, 100 chickens, 6 dogs, 4 ducks. Everybody's okay.
Everybody's okay. We lost one rooster. I think he had a heart attack, but every single animal was okay today after such a crazy night.
Well,
had a heart attack.
How did you make sense of how much people connected to Our Simple Homestead on TikTok, and not just the views, but the concerns? What does it mean to you, Sarah?
You know, people have been following Cash since his birth.
I hate him.
I hate him. But before the storm, I just shared my honest feelings of how
with a
scared
burning
I was to let
passion.
these animals be out.
I hate Cuomo.
And people resonated with it, and suddenly we were getting messages from all over the world, thousands and thousands of messages.
Fredo, the ones on
from all over
TV.
the world, people praying for us, sending love, doing prayer chains, having their church pray, and it was so incredibly comforting. And you know, we were so scared and so full of anxiety, but hearing all these people
Watching on
just
Twitch or heading
pouring their
over
hearts out
to
us that don't even know
Jason's
us,
Society.
it was just absolutely the most
Go
comforting
ahead,
thing in
light
the
one
world.
up, tip one back.
Believed it
It's
helped
all right to have a little
protect
fun
us
before you hit the
last
sack.
night. It really did.
Justin Freakin.
Rick, how
We'll see you
worried
tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol live.
to have to explain and deal with today?
Oh, God, Chris. Let me tell you, it's like